What's going on, everybody? David here. Today we're going to talk about some travel cards, and we're doing a live stream. So if you come in the chat, please let me know that you're here. That way I can know if everything is working correctly, if the audio is working, if you can see me, and I'm not like all paused or pixelated. So when you get in the chat room, please just let me know you're here, and we're going to get started. So what I will be doing is I will be doing another review of the American Express Gold card, because the review that I did previously, I deleted by accident. So I've been working on trying to get the audio fine-tuned, and I'm having issues with latency, and I'm trying to get it to where when you see me talking, the audio is synced up. And it's a lot more difficult than what it sounds. I've been working on a few different things, and I'm finding that it's like one incremental step. Like it's not going the way that it used to. It used to be a lot easier to do. And when you do it, when I'm using this USB mic as opposed to using it on my camera, on the camera is a lot easier. It syncs a lot better. But when you're doing it on here, for whatever reason, it doesn't sync. So long story short, I'm going through there, and I'm in private. So all these videos that I'm putting out are private. This is a public one, but the other ones were private. And so I started deleting the private ones. Well, I deleted one too many, and I deleted the last video that I did on the American Express Gold card. So that just means that I'm going to get out and we'll do another American Express Gold card, and we'll answer questions, and so we'll do kind of a Q&A, and you guys can help me, obviously, if there's stuff that I'm missing. But yeah, it's a frustrating thing, and I know I still haven't gotten the latency down to where I'm synced up correctly. And it's like you move it 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, you just keep kind of moving it around to try to figure out exactly where it should be, but you're creating all these different little videos, and all those videos I have to delete it at some point. And so that's what happened. I deleted the last video that I should have kept, because it was pretty good. It was like a 2-hour video, and over 500 people saw it. And so the good news is, second time around, it should be even better. And I have some other stuff that's set up. Like before, my chat box wasn't working correctly. Now I have my chat box working. So we can see the chat now, which is another good thing. Another thing I was frustrated about on the last video. So I know I'm not going to get it perfect, but we're at a point now where I want to do this every week, so every Sunday. And so I want to be able to put out some good stuff. All right, so let's see. Actually, that's a good point. Why don't we look at both cards? So the AMEX Gold Business and the AMEX Gold. That way I can kind of just put them together. So it's a little different. It's not the exact same. So Brian's saying that there's still a 0.5% second, 0.5 second lag. How do you know it's 0.5? I don't know. I'm just gonna go with it, and then I'll fine tune it and try to get it down, get that 0.5 seconds. But it's just frustrating to me, because I had it the way that I wanted when I was just doing it from the camera. But the problem with doing it from the camera is I was having some other issues with the audio. And I actually like this better because it is louder. Black Lotus says it's louder and clearer. It is louder. It's clearer. I like it. I'm on board with the mic. I just need to get it fine tuned so it's perfect. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll do the AMEX Gold first, and then we'll talk a little bit about the AMEX Gold Business as well, and then we'll just start doing some other stuff as far as question and answer stuff. Let me pop the chat out real quick so I can get off this screen here. And so if you are in the chat, just let me know you're here, say hi, and also let me know where you're coming from too, because that's always good to know where you guys are coming from. Let's see, Brian saying, I'll watch you from far away. Sound can take yeah. Brian said he'd watch me from further away. That way, it'll take a little bit more time, so it'll be synced up correctly. If it's really bad, let me know, and I can just back out and then try to get back in and do it that way. But it's annoying to me, because one of the things, like, you know, I work on videos, or not work on video stuff, but I do a lot of video stuff, and that bugs me over time. It bugs me when you see like the when it's off sync. Okay, let's open up. Let's see here. We're gonna open up the card, and then we'll get started with the card. Now, if you guys have any questions, just go ahead and put them in the chat, and then later on, I'll do a little bit. I'll do probably halfway through the um, kind of the review of the card. You guys already kind of know how I feel about the card, but I'll go halfway, and then I'll look at some of the questions, and we'll go over some of the questions, and then I'll finish it off, and then we'll go into the Amex Gold business, which I haven't even looked at yet. So that's going to be kind of interesting. Okay, so let's go ahead and switch over here. All right, so we have the American Express Gold card. And as you guys know, they have the limited edition Rose Gold, which is it's pretty neat that they did kind of a limited edition. And I have seen the card. I don't have the card. I should say that right off the bat. I don't have this card. Right now, I have the Chase ecosystem, and I'm really happy with it, comfortable with it. And eventually, I'll move over to American Express, the American Express ecosystem. But I haven't done that yet. I'm not. Although the Amex, the Rose Gold looks nice, I'm really not all like having. I don't have to get the card because of the Rose Gold. I'm not gonna force myself to get it just because of the color of the card or the style of the card, I guess you could say. Because it says Rose Gold, it does look pink. However, I mean it is impressive looking, even though it's like a pinkish color. So, all right, so let's look at the card here. Now, yet last week when I looked at the card, I had a link, and I don't know where I got the link. I'm on the Points Guy website, by the way. So the Points Guy, if you go to his website and then you go to one of his, he'll talk about the Amex Gold. I know they talked about it several times. And then I just clicked on the link, the top link up here, and then it brought me to this link here. So it is like an affiliate link from him, and you know, he gets what's the word? He gets like a kickback, I guess, or something for having people click on his link. I do like his page, so if you are going to get it, you should probably go through him, just because I think he has a pretty good page. I'm not getting sponsored by his blog or anything, but they do a really good job of laying out all these cards. Okay, so but last week, as I was saying before I got distracted, last week they had it was 50,000 bonus points, and I said last week, and I agree with it this week as well, that you should pretty much be there should be. I would get it at 50,000, and there should be promos like all over the place, because even if you check out some of my videos that I did on this card, if you just look in the comment section, there are a variety of people who put their links on there. Normally, I'm not really big about, like, when people put links, I'll block them. But in this situation, I think it's a good thing, because it's 25,000 points. I'm not in it trying to get, points or anything, bonus or affiliate, links or anything like that off of anyone when it came to this card. So other people were putting it on there, and I think that's great. So if you do check a few of my older videos that deal with the Amex Gold, and they're not old, they're probably, I put them out last month. So if you look at those, you'll be able to see in the comment section, there'll be a variety of people that put their links on there. Hopefully the links are still good, but I would only get the card if you can get the 50,000. If you can't get the 50,000, I personally wouldn't get it. I just think that 50,000 is the key to me getting the card. So when it comes to the point where I do get the card, that's the main thing that I'm going to be looking at, is the 50,000. Okay, I'm getting distracted real quick. Let me pull this up really quickly before we get started here. Pull this out of the window here. Okay, so my dashboard is not working. Okay. All right, just give me 1 second, guys. All right. And I'm just dragging my dashboard over, or my live feed, so I can see everything else that's going on. Okay. I think we have this the way I want it. That looks good. That looks good. And that looks good. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the card. Let's move that up just a little bit. There's so many different little features and all this stuff with these live streams that it's just kind of overwhelming sometimes. Okay. All right. So looking at the American Express Gold, like I said, if it's 50,000, if you can get the 50,000 bonus, definitely jump on that and just jump on my channel. And pretty much every video that I did on this card, someone put a link in there in the comment section. So you can check that out. Now, you receive the 20% back, like a statement of credit at U.S. restaurants. So that's good. And that's within within the first 3 months. And that's up to $100 back that you'll get. And it says members who apply by January 9th. So we're coming up on that January 9th time. So you want to, if you are going to get the card, then you want to get it relatively soon, because you only have like, what, one more week? Like a week and a half. Okay, other stuff here. The annual fee here is going to be $250. Now, they did up the annual fee. Unfortunately, they upped the annual fee like they throw into a lot of cards now. But I think it's worth it because of some of the benefits that they put in this card. I think it's definitely worth the annual fee, upping the annual fee. So going down the list here, some of the things that I really like about the card are the earn possibilities that you can get with this card. And so we're looking at 4 times points at restaurants and 4 times points at supermarkets. And it's U.S. restaurants and U.S. supermarkets. So it doesn't work overseas or work in other countries. So that's one of the drawbacks of having this card. Although most people who would be interested in this card are probably going to be either people who like to eat out a lot, like eat out at restaurants and stuff, and then also people who do like to travel. So if you travel within the U.S., this is a perfect card for you. If you travel outside of the U.S., you're going to want to have some other cards that complement this card. So if that's the AMEX Platinum, which you can use it for travel, and you get 5 times points on airlines, but also have another card that you can use when you're overseas to kind of maximize your points. And I would look at, like, I have the Chase Sapphire Reserve right now, and that's a good card. You get 3 points back on dining, 3 points back at for travel. So that would really help this card out. But this card alone, yes, if you're traveling outside of the U.S., I wouldn't use the card because you're going to get 1 point per dollar, and so that's not going to be very good if you're in another country and you're using the card. But the real big benefit of this card is the 4 times at supermarkets, which are usually it's hard to find a card that's going to give you that value. In the Chase ecosystem, if you have the Chase Freedom card, they have the rotating categories, and you'll have opportunity to get 5 times back at supermarkets for like a 3-month? I think it's a 3-month period, which is really good. But they cap it, so there is a cap on it. I think it's $1,500 is the cap. So just be aware of that. Let's look at you have the dining credit. So you have a $120 dining credit, which is good. Dining credit, you have to be able to use it though. And if you're not going to use a dining credit, then you can't really, like I said, overall, when I look at cards, my main focus is I want to get a card where I don't have to, that annual fee is all, I get credit for all the annual fee that I have to pay. So if it's $250, I want to be able to get that $250 value every year. If I can't get that value, then it's not worth having the card. That's the way I look at it. So in this situation, $120 dining credit, for some people it might be a little difficult because they don't use the same, like, they don't use these benefits. They don't use these restaurants. So Cheesecake Factory is one of the restaurants. Shake Shack is one of the restaurants. Grubhub is one of the one of the delivery services, as well as Seamless, and the Ruth Chris Steakhouse is the other one. So you're only going to get $10 every month, which is really not much when it comes down to some of these restaurants like Cheesecake Factory and Ruth Chris. You're probably going to spend you're going to spend a lot more than $10 in most situations going to those restaurants. Now Grubhub, you could probably work something out where you'll be really close. You might just pay a little extra. So that would work, and that's probably, for me, that would be the best option, even though I don't use Grubhub very often. I've used them in the past, and it kind of put me at a point where it's forcing me to use Grubhub at least once a month, which I don't. I use them maybe once every 3-4 months. If you live in a large city where you don't really want to jump in the car and go somewhere, and it's easier just to order food in, then Grubhub is probably a better, or this dining credit's better for you because it's $120 every year. But like I said, it's not that much, so you're only going to use it maybe once a month, and then you'll be over that $10. So let's look at some of the other benefits. And my whole thing too is like, when I look at cards, and I will say, not all, you have different cards that will help, or how am I saying this? I say this all the time, but I say it differently. So let me just say it like this. Not all cards are right for everyone. So you might have a card that you think this is the best card to get, but it might not be the best card for you. And you just need to look at all the different benefits that the card will provide for you. And there might be benefits that the card will provide for you, but you don't use them. So if you don't use them, then you just have to kind of weigh it out. And there might be a card, even though you don't use the benefit. Let's say I don't use that dining credit. It just doesn't work for me. It's $120. Well, I'm going to need to try to find that $120 somewhere else. So there might be another feature that I use a lot more, and it will offset it. And just what comes to mind is like with the Chase Sapphire Reserve, you have the rental car. So you get the rental insurance. Now, when I travel, I very rarely will rent a car. If I'm in another country, I usually don't rent a car. Like, I've never rented a car in a foreign country. Let's just put it that way. If I'm within the U.S., it's easier. I know the laws, I know the rules, and I can read all the signs and all that good stuff. So it's not as stressful. But when I'm in another country, especially like when I was in Thailand, you're driving on a different side of the road and just different things like that. I don't want to get in a situation where I get lost or have an accident and I'm in another country. But some people do use rental cars very frequently, and to have the rental insurance, the insurance, the car insurance, and have it the primary car insurance is a big thing, because you have to pay that extra fee every time you rent a car. But if you have Chase Sapphire Reserve, you have Chase Sapphire Preferred, you don't have to do that. And so you can just use they have, the credit card has that primary insurance built in, so you can always decline that insurance. Now, in my situation, my own insurance that I pay for also will cover me for a rental car, but it's always nicer to just use the Chase Sapphire Reserve or the Chase Sapphire Preferred rental insurance, primary rental insurance, because then you don't have to get tied into your car insurance going up if you have an accident, all that kind of stuff. You can just go directly with your credit card. So things like that, you might use that benefit, but but other people don't use it. So like, I don't use it, but there might be someone else that will use that benefit. So that card makes a lot of sense to them because of that. So that's just an example, but let's move forward and talk a little bit more about this card. We have, let's see, I said 3 times point. Okay, so we didn't do, so the 3 times points on travel. And so that's booking directly with the airline, as well as the AMEXtravel.com website. So if you're booking, you're going to get 3 times points on airlines. So that's good. I mean, that's a real good benefit, and those numbers all look good to me. Now, what people have said in the past. Actually, let's go over let's go over the $100. So you have the $100 airline fee credit, which is good, and you have to designate the airline. So let's say if I want to fly United, that's going to be my airline, and that's my designated airline. So I'll get $100 for credit for incidentals, which is really good. Now, no foreign transaction fee, so that's good. So you can use the card in foreign, and if you're in another country, but you're only going to get 1 point per dollar. So I can't stress that enough. You have to be aware of that, because in my situation, if I had this card, I would not use it in another country, because I'm only going to get 1 point per dollar when I can use another card that will give me 3 points per dollar or 2 points per dollar. So I wouldn't use it if I'm in another country. Now, overall, looking at this, and I talked about this, and just so you know, if you guys are just coming in, yes, I did a video on this card last week, but if you check my channel, the video is gone. So I deleted it by accident. And so I just wanted to do it again, just so I have it all covered, and then we'll talk. And I'm sure there'll be other questions and stuff that are up that people will have, or people have insight or input that they want to add to the chat. So that's the reason I'm doing it again. I will add the AMEX Business Gold card as well. We'll look over that one. I haven't even looked at that card yet, so this is going to be kind of the first time that I look at it. But we'll just go over that one as well. So, so what I was going to say about this card is, because it's U.S. as far as U.S. restaurants and U.S. What was the other U.S. restaurants and U.S. supermarkets. Some people think, and I've heard a lot of people talk about this. This is not a travel card, because it doesn't offer you 4 times points on restaurants in other countries. Well, I've always stuck to this. You get the points. You can use the points for travel. You can use the points for whatever you want to use them for. This is not a good card to use in another country, but this is still a good card for travel. And if you travel within the U.S., it's a good card. Even if you travel abroad, it's still a good card, but just don't use the card. Use the points use the points to get to your destination. Once you get to your destination, use another card. Most people who spend $250 for an annual fee for a card, they probably have some other travel cards as well. So you just utilize those travel cards, and you can use this card just within the U.S. When it comes to earn possibilities, you're gonna earn a lot of points with this card. So when you're in the U.S., you can really maximize and earn points. So that's just kind of the way that I look at it. Let's look at a few more things, see if they have anything else here. So you have the payment flexibility, and we kind of talked about this last week. So you have flexibility as far as payment. It's more like a credit card, and they're kind of going to that because this is a charge card, but they're making it more like a credit card to give you a little bit more flexibility. So it kind of competes with some of the other cards. Now, I will say I am not an expert when it comes to credit cards. I'm not a financial advisor or anything like that. And the way that I go about credit cards, charge cards are all the same to me. I pay them off every 2 weeks, so I never carry a balance. And the reason that I do that is because these are travel cards, and you can earn points with these cards. So if I'm earning points with these cards, I want to use these points for travel. So I don't want to pay any interest on these cards. So if I'm paying interest on the cards, then all those points that I'm getting, let's say I get 50,000 points, every month that I don't pay my credit card off in full, I'm paying more interest, and I'm devaluing those points. So I always pay every 2 weeks. I have a routine where I will pay off all my credit cards, and then, I don't ever have to pay any interest on the cards. Right now, I only have 4 cards that I use on a regular basis, and I pay them off every month. 2 of them are paid the first 2 weeks, and the second week, the other 2 are paid. And I just keep doing that every month. And my method, the way that I do things, is I use my cards in place of my debit card. And in the past, I was using my debit card all the time. So I very rarely used anything else. It was my debit card, and I use cash every once in a while. So now I just switch places. So I don't use my debit card anymore. I'm only using my credit cards, and I'm using my credit cards to make all my payments. And then at the end of every 2 weeks, I'm paying them off. So that's how I do that. Okay, so all in all, I like this card. I think it's a very good card. Like I said, I don't have it yet. It's one of the cards that I'm strongly considering getting. And the only thing that I'm thinking about right now is, do I get the Amex Platinum before I get the Amex Gold? So that's the only thing I'm thinking about, because the way that I look at it is, if I'm going to get one, I'm going to get the other. So which one do I get first? Because this kind of will be a whole new ecosystem for me. So I have the Chase ecosystem. If I get an American Express card, American Express Platinum, then I'm going to get the American Express Gold, and I'll have that ecosystem as well. So I'm leaning more toward getting the Amex Platinum first, just because they have Centurion lounges. I live in Southern California. I fly out of the Los Angeles airport, so LAX, a lot, and they will be getting a Centurion lounge very soon. I also fly from Los Angeles to San Francisco a lot, because they have a hub there. United does. And for me to fly to all these different destinations I like to go to, a lot of times I'm flying up to San Francisco first, and then flying from San Francisco out to wherever the destination is. So, and like most of my flights, that's the way it goes. Very few of my flights will go directly from LAX to where I'm going. So, and San Francisco does have a Centurion lounge right now, so that's what I'm thinking about, or that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so if you guys have anything that you want to talk about, please put it in the chat. If you guys are new and you just jumped in, just let me know, say hi, so I'll know that you guys are here. And let me know where you're coming from too, because I like to just know where people are coming from around the world. It's interesting. We can kind of talk about maybe places where you live, places where you've traveled. If you have questions about places to travel, put it in the chat, and then people will look in and they'll say, oh, okay, yeah, you know what, I've been there. Or I might tell you, like, oh, Thailand, yeah, I just was in Thailand 3 months ago, and can talk about different stuff like that. What I want to make this channel right now, like with the live chats, when I do live chats, I just want to make it a community of people just talking about travel and different destinations, where they want to go, where they've gone. And it really helps out, because there's one thing when it comes to travel that I found. The more advice and tips and all this stuff you can get before you get to that destination, the better your overall travel experience is. Because there are plenty of times where I got into situations where I didn't know things, or I missed certain things and I get to the destination and I don't get to experience it because I didn't know about it. And there's just so much, like, especially when you're traveling, there's so many different things that are going on in your head, and you're stressed out, and you're making sure you have all your luggage and just all this stuff. And then you get to the destination, and the way, I don't know how you guys are, but when I get to a destination, if I've never been there before, I'm overwhelmed. Like, there's just so much stuff to see, and so I just want to do it all. But obviously you can't do it all in one day. You can't do it all in one trip. So I find myself going back. Like when I went to Colombia, it was the same thing. My mind was blown, and I was looking all over all these different things to do, and I want to do this, I want to eat that, I want to go here, I want to go there. And I didn't do half that stuff. And so then I wanted to go back. And so then I went back, and then I did some more stuff. And then I'm like, oh, I wanted to do that too. I wish I would have known about that. And then I go back. So what I want to make the channel in the live streams, basically, we just talk about experiences that we've had, places that we want to go, different benefits that are budget travel, different things that we can do in order to save time, save money, and things like that. So, and plus, there's also, and I'll get into this more in the future, but there are a lot of people that I meet when I travel. So I like to do, I like doing photography. So that's like my part-time gig. So when I go to these different countries, I always get a guide, someone to take me around the city. And you don't have to be a photographer to do this, but I just find I save money doing it, because they'll take me on all the different excursions, and then they'll take me to places that the excursions won't take you to. So there are a lot of different places that, let's say if you get a guide, and getting a guide is easier than you think. I mean, a lot of Uber drivers are perfect. those are the perfect guides, because those Uber drivers, they're they're freelancing, right? That's what Uber is for the most part. So you can hook up with one of those guys, get or order Uber, have an Uber come through. If you have a good rapport with them, talk, chat with them. And I talked about this in another video, another live stream. I always sit in the front seat. So if I get in an Uber, I'm always in the front seat. And usually I'm with my buddy. He likes to sit in the back seat. He likes to sleep a lot. So if we're going on a long distance, he's in the back seat and he's out. So I like to sit in the front. That way I can talk with the Uber driver and just build a rapport with him if there is a rapport there. And then I always hit him up. Hey, how about taking me to, I want to go here, here, and here. How about taking me here tomorrow? How much would you charge me? And then you haggle the price. And they're great usually if you have a good rapport. And I look for someone who speaks English, at least a little bit of English, enough so we can communicate. And then after the way that it usually works for me, the first trip is you're still, not that comfortable. Like usually, so you do the Uber drive or the Uber fare, and then after that, the next day, it might still be a little rocky. And then once you really get to know each other, then they become your friends. I've done this 3 times already, where I have these guys. They're my friends to this day. I'm chatting with them about Colombia, or chatting with them about Costa Rica, and so I want to incorporate that as well to kind of show you guys how you can get a guide. And getting a guide is perfect because, like I said, they will take you to places where the excursions, if you get an excursion, they won't take you. Like when I was in Costa Rica, this guy was taking us everywhere. He took us all over. He took us to show us where the president lived. And the president in Costa Rica doesn't live, like, they don't have a White House. They don't have like a government building that's designated like a palace or anything like that for a president. So the president just lives in his house. He lives in the same house, and then he commutes to work, and they have like a government building. That's where he works, but he just lives in a house just like everyone else. And so he was all excited about, I'm going to show you the president's house. I'm going to show you the president's house. So he took us to the president's house, and Costa Rica's a little, it's not like out here where, when I say out here, I mean in the U.S., where things are a little more secure, tied down. And I don't know much about Costa Rica, but my feeling when I was in Costa Rica is people are much more trusting and much friendlier, and you don't have it doesn't seem like you have the threats like you have in the U.S. And so the president lives at the time, there's a new president now, but at that time the president lived in like a townhome. And when I say townhome, looked like it was maybe six different homes, or maybe it was eight different homes, and they're all connected. And there's just a little gate out front, and obviously his neighbors are just his regular people, his neighbors. And there's one police vehicle that was sitting out front. It was more of like a traffic vehicle, just to get him. So if he needs to go somewhere, he gets in the car, and I'm imagining he drives. I don't know. I didn't even get that far, but they take off, and he has a little traffic vehicle just to keep him going, so he doesn't have to stop. But that was pretty much it. And I believe he was a professor. He was a teacher before he became president, and so he just lived a modest life, and nothing really changed when he became president. So just different things like that. Those experiences you're not going to get if you do a regular excursion, but you'll get it if you can find a local that will take you around. And this guy's taking us, I'm going to drive you by, where I live, like in his neighborhood. He drove us by his neighborhood, showed us his house. And I mean, not get out and go to his house, but that drove by his house and stuff like that. There are some issues. I mean, you need to, usually if I'm with my buddy, that's what I'm doing, the getting a guide thing. If you're traveling alone, if you aren't comfortable, I totally understand that. If I'm traveling alone, I'm probably not going to do the guides unless I know already, like if I've already built a relationship with a person prior to. So like, let's say I go back to Colombia. I know a guy in Colombia that will take me around because we met him the last time we were there. So yeah, you have to think about that too, as far as you need to be able to trust who you're going with, and if you're going by yourself, it's probably not a good idea. You probably want to do the regular excursions with everyone else, unless you've connected with someone. And even then, I mean, you do have to be careful when it comes to that. When it's me and my buddy, I mean, I don't think it's just a little different. You know, you have your backup with you, right? Or it's a little different situation. But I would be careful. But Uber drivers are very very good as far as is hitting them up about taking you around places. All right, let's look at the chat here because I know we've been talking a lot, or I've been talking a lot. You guys haven't, but let's just look in the chat and see what we have going on here. All right, so who is in here? So like I said, if you are here, just let me know you're here. That way I can say hello. Let me know where you're coming from, and then we'll just continue here. So we'll just start from the top. So Brian did talk about, we should talk about the AMEX Gold business. So I will do that right after we go over some of these questions and comments here. All right. And I do apologize for the lag. I know there is a little lag with the audio. I was trying to work on it, and that's what caused me to delete one of my videos, the last video that I did, which was about this card. So once I get that figured out, then I'll just feel better. But it does bother me that there is a lag, and I am aware of it. Let's see here. Okay, Michael, how you doing, Michael? Should you wait until 2019? Probably a few days into 2019 to apply. Thinking the travel credit is based on calendar year. No way to get double travel credit to use. Okay. Yeah, I'm not even sure about how they're doing that travel credit, but yeah, I don't know. I just know you would want to probably do it before January 9th because that's when they were showing the you weren't going to be able to get that dining credit. So that's my advice. That's probably when I would get it. Clifton, how you doing? 7, how's it going? Let's see. Hi, David and others. Oh, I'm reading the same thing. I'm seeing names and I'm reading. Okay, you get it. All right. 7, what's up? Brian, it's here. Bali is so trendy right now, and everything seems cheap over there. Yeah, Bali. So, you know, it's funny. When I was in Thailand, I ran into a couple that was from Indonesia, and they told me, hey, you should try Bali. And obviously they were telling me to go to Indonesia, or no, Singapore. They were from Singapore. They were saying go to Singapore and you should try Bali as well. I've heard some stuff about Bali. It does look like a nice place to go. We'll see. We'll see. Hopefully, I don't know. I haven't even set up my trips for this year or for 2019. So once I start figuring out where I want to go, then Bali is definitely a country that's on my list. I just had a friend that actually went to Bali, and it looked like he had a good time out there. So that is on my list. It's definitely on my list. If anyone's gone to Bali, please post in the comments or in the chat. Let us know because I'd love to know some different things to do, different things that you did out in Bali. All right, 7. I always go back to the same places. Yeah, and if I like the place, obviously, I talk about Colombia way too much, I know, but I love that place. So I want to go back at least once a year. And I want to go to different places in Colombia and some of the same places. So like Medellin, I want to go back to Medellin. And then there's some other places like, let's see, Cali, Cali. I want to go to Cali, Colombia. I want to go to, oh God, there's another one. Barranquilla. I want to go to Barranquilla. So I've been to Cartagena already. I wouldn't mind going back to Cartagena and then shooting over to Barranquilla while I'm there, because I think you can just take a bus from this. So you can fly into Cartagena, spend a few days in Cartagena, and then you can take a bus. I think it's like an hour ride to Barranquilla. So I'd like to go there, especially like during like the Carnival and stuff like that. I hear it's really good out there, nice out there. They're supposed to have, every every city says they have the most beautiful women, but Barranquilla is one of the places where they say they have the most beautiful women. Cali is another place they say they have the most beautiful women. So definitely want to try to go to those places. Let's see. 7. I always sit in the front seat too because I'm a cheapo. Okay. Okay, yeah. So sitting in the front seat is it's good. I mean, even if you're with a taxi, and what I noticed, like when I was in Thailand, this is another thing too. When I was in Thailand, a lot of the taxi drivers, they drive. They don't have very many, or I didn't see very many metered taxi drivers. So where they have the little meter there where it shows you how much you're going to pay. Usually I don't know if they're freelancing or what, but they're just out there. They are taxis. They have taxi, it says taxi on them. And they have the credentials and stuff. You get in the taxi and they have the credentials so you can see the picture and all that information. But they will do stuff, like they'll freelance stuff. So they'll do stuff with you and they have business cards and all that stuff. And they'll give you the business card and say, hey, yeah, call me and I'll come pick you up. We'll go here. We'll go there. So there's a good video. And I'm going to actually pull this video so you guys can, I'll just post the link in the description and then you guys can watch it later. Yeah, but it's a pretty good video when it comes to just haggling with these taxi drivers because they're always, you can always work out a deal with them. I shouldn't say always, but in a lot of situations you can work out a deal with them where they'll take you to different places and you can save a lot of money because especially if it's just you, then you're not really going to save much. But if it's you and your buddy, or you and a few other people, you and your wife or a girlfriend or boyfriend, then you can save money by doing certain things. So I just want to pull this video up real quick, or just get the link for this video so you guys can check it out later. But I was just happened to be walking down. We were walking down the beach in Phuket, Thailand, at Patong Beach, and these two taxi drivers approached me, which they do. Like, you have to be prepared for that. They will approach you all the time, everywhere you're walking. You're just hearing different people calling you out. Let's see. It's hard for me to do two things at once, so if I get distracted, I apologize. Traveling. But yeah, that's just the way I'm wired. Okay, so here's the link here. So later on, check that link out, and that's just kind of me haggling with these taxi drivers. But basically, when you're in Thailand, one thing is you're gonna have people that they're hitting you up about everything. Hey, buy this, buy that, buy sunglasses, buy this. So they're always approaching you. You walk by, you're on Bangalore Road in Thailand, in Phuket, Thailand, and you have massage. People are, all these different massage booths, and it's just people everywhere trying to get you into the bars. So they're standing in front of you with these signs. And some of them are very aggressive, so you need to be aware of that. They're not... like in the U.S., like Vegas is the first thing that comes to mind when I think about like people out there giving you flyers and stuff like that. And the people out in Vegas, they'll just kind of like flick like they have these little like strip clubs and all this stuff. Like they'll just flip these little flyers in front of you. But if you're just walking, they're not gonna really mess with you. But in Thailand, they will like actually go get in front of you with these big signs and like kind of be all in front. So they'll let you get by them, but they're going to make sure that you see what they have. So for different clubs and different bars and stuff like that they're trying to get you into. So just be aware of that. Yeah, they do that a lot. All right. Let's see. Let's finish some of these questions off. So, yeah, we were talking about sitting in the front seat. So, and I kind of went on a tangent, but sitting in the front seat is really good because you want to make sure this is if you want to try to work out a deal to do other things with them in the next day, like let's say you're there for 6-7 days and you want to do some stuff with them for the for 6 or 7 days, well then sit in the front seat, get a rapport, see if they're someone that you would want to have take you around. But the taxi drivers, you have Uber drivers, you have taxi drivers. In certain countries, the taxi drivers, they'll do stuff as well because they're going to make more money with you than they are with driving their taxi. And plus, they have to really work, work to get their fares because there's so many. Like in Thailand, for example, there are so many taxis. It's not even. There are so many taxis out there that you just have guys and you see them. They're just they're laid out. They're either laid out sleeping in the taxi, or they're just laid out sleeping. Like there'll be a bunch of them, maybe 5 or 6 guys, and they're just all just laid out sleeping and relaxing, and they're there all day. Like it's funny because we'd walk a lot of places because we were right by Bangla Road and right by Patong Beach, which is the epicenter of Phuket. So you'd come out there and we'd walk down from our hotel. And I swear to you, every time we walked down from our hotel, every day that we were there, we'd walk down to the beach and then go to Bangla Road and go to restaurants and all that. These same guys, same 5-6 guys, there's like a trailer, like a trailer that you would haul stuff in, like wood and stuff like that, I guess. They were laying in this trailer and they had their little tuk-tuk. Tuk-tuk is like a little taxi. It's like a little, I don't even know. It looks like a fake, not really a fake car, but it's like a little truck up front, and then you have the seating in the back, and you're actually just jump in the back, and you're seated. And they have this little row like benches, and they had their little tuk-tuks all in the neighborhood, like all in the area, and they're just laying down, sitting there, relaxing. And they were doing that all the time. We'd go get something to eat, come back, they're still there, come back. Hours later, they're still there. Every time you walk by them, same thing. Tuk tuk, tuk tuk, taxi, taxi. But they weren't really doing anything. So what I'm saying is there's a lot of taxis out there. So you can really, they're more than willing to take you different places. Like if you want to do like set up something where, hey, I want to go here, here, and here. Can you pick me up tomorrow? They're willing to do that because in a lot of situations they're not working. They're not doing anything. So that's a benefit to them. They don't have to do any work. They know they're going to be making this amount of money, and they know they'll be busy the whole day. Okay. All right. Let's see. Where are we? Jeremy, what's going on, Jeremy from Akron? How you doing? Language barriers when travel abroad. Okay, so Jeremy's asking about language barriers. This is actually a really good question. So how do you deal with language barriers when you travel? And the first thing that I do is I do try to learn a little bit and just keywords. I mean, hello, goodbye, thank you, restroom, just real minimal stuff. But I'll learn that stuff, and that goes a long way because a lot of it's body language. Like you can show people, and you don't have to speak the same language, but we use the same body language and same hand signs and stuff like that. Drink, eat. I mean, there's so many things that we will all understand just by hand signs. So when it comes to that, just learn a few different. If you don't really want to learn a bunch of like Spanish, but just know key things, and then Google Translate. Google Translate is that's probably one of the best apps for travel. I would say it is the best app for travel. And what you do is, and I don't know if I've done this on a video. If I do, I'll post the link I can't remember if I did it in a video, but I should do it in the future. But Google Translate, you can get the app, and then you can download the language. So you can download the language to your phone. So if you don't have Wi-Fi or if you don't have service, you still have your phone, you click on the app and it's downloaded. The language is downloaded and it will translate for you. You can talk into it to translate, and then it will actually say what you're trying to say in whatever language that is. So you can just hold it up to someone and they'll hear it. Oh, okay, I understand. Or you can try, to butcher the language but say what what you're trying to say, or you can just show them. That's what I do a lot. So if I'm trying to do something, like, it was funny, we were in Colombia, and I know a little bit of Spanish, but I'm still working on it. But we went to a grocery store, and my buddy wanted to get some popcorn. So we were looking for popcorn. Well, we couldn't figure out, like, how do you say popcorn? And we were saying popcorn in English, and they didn't understand what we were saying. And he also wanted, like, the popcorn that was like the little packets that we have out in the U.S., where it's like a little packet, you just throw it in the microwave and then it pops out. So that's what he was looking for. So we're walking around the store, popcorn, and they didn't know what we were talking about. And so we did the Google Translate and then showed it to him. It's like, oh, okay. And so he takes us to where we wanted to go. So with language barriers, it's really, in a lot of situations, it's not that bad, because I've been to a lot of different places, and I usually can find someone that speaks English. And it's, when I first started going to Colombia, that was really a challenge, because for whatever reason, I just thought, and I've been to Mexico a few times, and I'm thinking, okay, well, like, you go to Mexico, you can always find someone that speaks English. But in Colombia, it's a little different, a little more difficult. But you can find people who speak English. And another thing too is, like, if you can get someone, like I said, if you can get a guide that can take you around, and if they speak English, you're set, and you're not paying the tourist prices in a lot of situations, because he'll take you to different places, and he knows, and he's able to haggle deals with you, or deals with the locals as well. And I always, if I'm taking someone with me, if it's like a guide, I'll always take care of him. So if we go eat, he's eating on us, but he's also taking us to real nice places that are local spots, not spots where all the tourists go. So you're saving money anyway, because when you go to some of these tourist traps, the food is much more expensive than if you go to places that he recommends that he'll take you. So with language barriers, yeah, Google Translate, that is an excellent app for that. Let's see. Casey, how you doing? Casey's coming from Boston. What do you think about the Hyatt acquisition? So I've heard about the small luxury hotels. So he's asking about and I don't know if it was, I don't know if they acquired them, or if they're just kind of working out a deal. Is it like a partnership? I don't know exactly. But basically, Hyatt now has, you now have small luxury hotels as a part of Hyatt. So if I'm booking Hyatt, I can also use some of these small luxury hotels. I haven't looked much into it. Now, I do like Hyatt properties. I do like to stay at Hyatt generally when I travel. One of the downfalls of Hyatt is they have a very small footprint when it comes to hotels. But I like the hotel. So I will actually, and I've gone so far as looking at determining where I'm going to stay, as far as what cities I'm going to stay in, looking at Hyatt property. So if there's a Hyatt property in Phuket, okay, well, then I'll go to Phuket. If there's a Hyatt property in Bangkok, okay, I'll go to. So I've even gone that far because I like staying at Hyatt that much. I'm not really into IHG. I'm not Marriott. I just actually, and today I came on a little late today. Obviously, I wanted to come on at 7, but then I had some issues with my computer. But I did come in late, so I just came from Las Vegas, and I stayed in a Hilton, which I don't like Hiltons, but I like this Hilton that I stayed in. It was in Lake Las Vegas, and I was there for a wedding, and it was nice. It was a nice hotel. So Lake Las Vegas Hilton Spa Resort, something like that. That was pretty. That's the nicest Hilton that I've stayed in. So you might want to check that out. Now, it's not on the Strip. It's not close to the Strip. You're about 30 minutes away from the Strip. But it's perfect because you're out in kind of a quiet location, and you have restaurants there, and you have everything there right in that location, and you have a little lake. You're near Lake Mead, so it's nice. It was definitely a good experience. But I swore up and down that I would never stay in another Hilton. But in this situation, it just made sense, and it was a good place. So you just with Hilton, with my experience with Hilton, it's kind of hit and miss, and I had a lot of misses. Like when first started off staying at Hilton's, I wasn't liking staying there, but excuse me, this one was nice. So, but with Hyatt, the thing I like about Hyatt is they're all. I haven't had a bad experience at Hyatt yet, and I've stayed in Hyatt over. And I only know this because of my elite, my elite status. That's kind of how I gauge it. But 30 times last year, actually 25 times the year before. Last year, so far I think we're at about 30. And so, yeah, it's, I've stayed there a lot. So I haven't had a bad experience, and I've stayed at Hyatt's all over the country. So, or all over the world. Okay. So as far as the question, yeah, we'll just have to see. I'll have to see how these hotels are. I'm just glad that they're offering more now. So you have more opportunities to stay at, to use your points to stay at properties through Hyatt. So that's good. Let's see, Lionel, how you doing, Lionel? Do you have the Chase Sapphire Preferred or the Chase Sapphire Reserve? The guilty pleasure to travel to Bangkok is I have been 5 times this far. Oh, my guilty pleasure. Okay, yeah. Now my buddy. Okay, so when I went to Thailand, I only stayed at Phuket, and the whole thing is I did like a real last minute trip. I was planning on going. My buddy had already booked all of his stuff, so I was just gonna meet up with him. But since it was last minute, I decided to. He stayed in Bangkok for I think 2 days, and then he went to Pattaya and stayed there for a couple of days, and then he came to Phuket. So I missed the first 4 days, and so that's why I went straight to Phuket. Now he didn't like Bangkok, and I've talked to people and they don't like Bangkok for whatever reason. To them, it's too much of a big city. It's kind of their words, dirty, and they just didn't like it. So I don't know. I mean, obviously, who's it? Lionel likes it. Is it Lionel? Yeah, Lionel liked it. So, yeah, I'd like to know, Lionel, I'd like to know what you liked about it, because I always hear every time people talk about Bangkok, it's like, oh no, I didn't like it. But then I went here and I like that place. Like Phuket, I'll tell you, I like Phuket. Phuket was nice. And so there are other places that people go in Thailand, but Bangkok is really, they'll go there, but only because it's Bangkok and they just want to see what's there, and then they usually go somewhere else. All right. And to answer your question, as far as Chase Sapphire Preferred, Chase Sapphire Reserve, I do have both those cards. I will be downgrading the Chase Sapphire Preferred, but I got the Chase Sapphire Preferred first, and then when they did when they launched the new card, the Reserve, I jumped on it, and I was one of the first ones to get that card. And so I've just had both of them this whole time, but I don't use the Chase Sapphire Preferred anymore. So I will be downgrading it to a Chase Freedom card sometime in the near future. The whole thing with it is I'm losing out right now on points, and it's bad, but the card will renew, I think, like in February. So I need to do it like now. I don't need to wait, but I will switch that card up. Let's see, Jeremy. Do you think it's worth having the Chase Sapphire Reserve and the American Express Platinum? Now, I have the Chase Sapphire Reserve already, and I like the card, and I'm keeping the card, but I also want to stay at Centurion Lounges, and it is because, like, you have the American Express Platinum, a lot of the benefits I can get with the Chase Sapphire Reserve, like the Priority Pass. You're doubling up when it comes to that, and but one thing with American Express Platinum, you do get that 5 times on airlines. So if you're booking airlines, so you get a little bit more value. And like I said, if I do go this route and get the American Express Platinum, then I'm also going to get the American Express Gold, and I'll just have 2 ecosystems going, and I'll just have to work it that way. But that's. Yeah, you are. you want to be able to get that value, right? The value on both cards. You do get the travel credits and stuff on both cards, so you can work with that as well. But I just want to be able to get that. If it's $550 annual fee for the Amex Platinum, I want to be able to get that $550 annual fee. Not, I won't say waived, but I want to get that value. And then the Chase Sapphire Reserve, I want to get that value. And for me, I want to kind of spread them out. So my payment for the Chase Sapphire Reserve comes in, I believe it's August. So I want to have this, if I'm going to get the card, I want to get it relatively soon because I want to have a break in between. So that $550 I'm paying for Amex Platinum, pay for it now, and then 6 months later pay for the Chase Sapphire Reserve. So that's the way I'm going to kind of, that's the strategy with that, with those two cards. Let's see, Clifton, I think you just went to Phuket, to the Phuket area. I heard the part is worse with taxes. Wait, I heard that part is the worst with taxis. Okay, they call them the taxi mafia. Yeah, I was in Phuket the whole time, right at Bangalow Road and Patong Beach. I was in that area the whole time. And there's a Hyatt, actually the Hyatt place is where I stayed. And nice hotel. I highly recommend that place because for one, we were there off season, but for one, the rooms were very cheap. It was $50 a day, and they had everything that I would want. The only issue, or not, it's not even an issue, but the only thing, and I noticed this, and I stayed when I first flew into Phuket. I stayed a couple of days before my buddy got there. So I technically, like I said, he was there for 4 days. He was in Bangkok, and then he went to Pattaya. I couldn't fly directly into Pattaya with the points that I was using. So I just skipped that whole part. And so I just went straight to Phuket, and I stayed there for 2 days, and I actually stayed at the Hyatt Regency for the first 2 days. And Hyatt Regency, it was nice. There was a situation, and I did a video on this as well, but this has never happened to me before. But it's funny because I flew in. It was late at night. I got there, I want to say it was like 2 a.m. And I was stuck in a situation where I had to actually pay an extra night, which is, it was just poor planning on my part. I knew I was coming in late. I should have figured something out. And I'm thinking, oh, well, maybe I can stay. They have like you can sleep for like 8 hours at the airport in these little airport hotels. And I thought that they were there, but for whatever reason, they weren't. And they didn't have them. They didn't even have the hotel. I don't know. I thought that they were at the airport, but they weren't. So now I'm in a situation. It's 2 a.m. What am I going to do? I could sleep at the airport, or I could just go to the hotel and see if they let me check in early. Well, they didn't let me check in early. So when I got to the hotel, I was just like, okay, that's fine. They did give me a little deal. So they gave me, it was a little cheaper, but granted, I'm paying, technically it's the next morning. It's 2 a.m. So I'm paying for a room the day before, if you know what I'm saying. So I went ahead and checked in, and I stayed, and I had a free night too that I was using, so it didn't really hurt that much. So I was going to pretty much look at it this way. The free night went to that night that I came in, and then the next day I paid for. But I checked into the hotel, walked into my room, and I'm walking around. This room is nice. I go around, go through the bathroom, go through, like, they had a separate area. It was like a wardrobe kind of area where it's like I don't know how to explain it. I don't know all the stuff when it comes to amenities and stuff like that. But you walk in, and you have this area where you have closets, and you can get dressed, and you have a sink and all that stuff. And then you have the bathroom in another area. And so I'm walking around. I walk through the room. Bed looks nice. Go out. There's a balcony. You can walk out on the balcony. You can see the water and the beach and all that. And it's like, wow, this is amazing. So then I come back in. And I'm walking around, and I go to the bathroom. That's the last place that I go. I walk in the bathroom, and there's 2 cockroaches, big cockroaches. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? And I've never gone in a hotel before and saw like two big cockroaches running around. Actually, one was dead and the other one was just like running around. So I called to the front desk and I'm telling him, this is one of the things you talk about, language barriers. And I'm telling him over the phone, there's cockroaches in the hotel. You know, I want to change rooms. And he doesn't understand what I'm saying. Cockroaches, bugs, you know, big bugs. So finally he figures it out. He was like, oh, okay, I'll send someone up to get your bags. And so they got my bags, and then I went to another room. But I've never checked in a room before and had like big cockroaches just running around. So that was pretty interesting. But the room was really nice, and it was one of those deals where it's like, dang, do I just kill these cockroaches and just stay in the room, because it's a nice room? But the good thing is they put me in another room, which is even nicer. The next room it had even more. Like, it was, yeah. But anyway, Hyatt Regency, I stayed there for 2 days, and then I went to the Hyatt Place. So Hyatt Place in Phuket is definitely a place that you should consider. The Hyatt Regency, it was nice. The hotel was nice. The view was nice. It was right on the water, but it was away from everything. So if I wanted to go like to the main, to Bangalore Road and all that, where all the action bars and all that stuff are, I had to take a taxi, and it was like I want to say it was like 40 minutes. So it wasn't really near anything. So it's good. Honeymooners, things like that. You just want to be away from everyone. It's perfect for that, but not good for it wasn't good for people who want to be in the nightlife and go to the bars and all that. It wasn't good for that. All right, let's see. And we'll do a few more questions, and then I want to go ahead and get into the AMEX Gold, the AMEX Business Gold card, and then we'll come back to some of these questions. Okay, let's see. Okay, so you guys are talking back and forth. AMEX Platinum is more valuable than Chase Sapphire Reserve if you travel a couple of times a year. Okay, and yeah, you know what? I would agree with that. I mean, AMEX Platinum is a good card. It's just you can earn more with the Chase Sapphire Reserve, so that's a benefit there. Like it's just the earn possibilities are better with restaurants, 3 times with restaurants, and so it's just better in that sense. But the Amex Platinum is a good card, and although the annual fee is a little bit higher, you still get the travel credit, and you're able to stay at the Centurion Lounges. I know I talk about that a lot, and I haven't even stayed in it. I haven't even gone to a Centurion Lounge, but and I guess at some point I'll probably get over the whole Centurion Lounge, because I'm over the Priority Pass lounges. I haven't really stayed in a Priority Pass lounge where I'm just like over, like, wow, this is just an amazing place. Usually they're good, but I haven't stayed at one I haven't gone to one that's like excellent. Usually it's good, fair, and even poor in some situations. I've been to some poor ones. So they generally offer pretty much the same things, but you'll have some that are they're set up better. They have nicer seats, more comfortable. They have better, some of them they will have food. They'll have like a buffet. Like when I was in China, I stayed at Air China. Actually, Priority Pass says Air China. I think it was Air China, China Air. I can't remember. But that lounge was pretty nice. They had food that you can eat, and like a kind of a buffet style where you can get food and stuff like that. The food, it was I'd say a 7 out of 10. It wasn't like exceptional, but the fact that they had a place where you can eat, that was good. And then they had a lot of different places where you can sit and relax and stuff. So that was good. All right, let's do a few more, and then we're going to go to the Amex Business Platinum. 7 saying I always get a local SIM card, get Uber or Grab app, and 9 out of 10 taxi drivers will rip you off. Yeah. So, and if you don't know about Grab is basically, it's like Uber, but in Thailand, that's what they use. It's Grab. And I would say I like it better than Uber. If they had Grab out here in the U.S., I think it would be pretty successful. What I like about Grab is it's pretty much just taxis, like taxi drivers. And what I like about that is it's not tied to your credit card or your debit card or what have you. So that's kind of a good and a bad, right? Because if you want to use your credit card to get points, then you get points with it. But if you're traveling with a group of people, it's good because they just take cash, just like a regular taxi driver does. But the price is already set. So, and usually it's cheaper than what a taxi driver will quote you. And so all you do is you go on the app, you tell them where you are, where you want to go, and then they will send out a Grab driver, and they're fast. Like I said, and where I was in Thailand, in Phuket, there are taxis everywhere anyway. So when you hit that Grab, as soon as you hit that you want the service, they're there within. We never waited more than 5 minutes, but they're there like usually within 2 to 3 minutes. They're driving up. So it's a real good system. And like I said, if you're traveling with more than one person and you guys want to kind of, and because one of the things about Uber is if you're using your credit card, you guys can take turns doing the Uber if you want to do that. But if you have cash, it's always better with Grab because you have cash. You could just give them whatever cash, and it just works out better if you're working with other people. So you don't have to worry about, okay, well, I got the last Uber, you get this Uber. You guys can just do it with cash. It's better. All right, Lionel, I have both the Chase Sapphire Reserve and the Amex Platinum. My goal is to consolidate my Amex Hilton cards. Amex Platinum gets you Hilton Gold. I want Hilton Diamond, but don't know about the $450 annual fee. What do you think? Okay. Wow, that's a lot. Let's see. I don't even. Well, I kind of already talked about the Hilton. Although I did have a good experience with Hilton before, or just over the weekend. So you get the Hilton Gold status. You want to get Platinum. And I guess you're saying by using that, just getting the Amex card, you can get that Platinum status. Is that the what is that card called? I can't even remember. So you can just buy in to basically get the card and have that elite status. Now, my experience with elite status, and I'll answer your question like this. My experience with Hyatt elite status is it usually sounds a lot better than what it is. And so I was when World of Hyatt first started their program, I was a carryover, and I already had the Platinum status with Hyatt with their old program. So they grandfathered me in, and I was able to get the World of Hyatt, their elite status there, the globalist status. So I had the globalist status for the first year, and I can't really tell you that much. It wasn't worth $450. I'll just say that. It wasn't worth that much to have that status. I was able to use it a few times on my travels, but for the most part, what I was thinking it would be, it wasn't. And I was thinking, oh, I can get this. And every time I get checked into a hotel, they're going to put me in the VIP suite and all this. And nah, it doesn't work like that. So that's just my experience when it comes to getting status. Just having some is good. And if you can get don't get the highest. Like right now, I'm an Explorer. So I was in Explorers all this year with Hyatt. So that's the second level. And it's fine. Like I went to Thailand, they upgraded me not to a larger room, but to a nicer view. So I generally don't get hung up on that. And I wouldn't get a credit card just because it's going to give me diamond status. I would, because if that credit card's just giving me diamond status, what other benefits am I going to get with that card? That's what I would be looking at. That's what I'd be more concerned with, because just having diamond status, you're usually you might not be getting what you think you're getting. So that's just my take on that. I would be good with having the Amex Platinum and just having the gold status and working with that, and because you'll still get some of the same benefits. Generally, they're not too far off. Like the tiers, they'll give you a little bit more, but in a lot of situations, especially with Hyatt, I ran into some situations where I was frustrated with the fact that I had these benefits and I couldn't use them because I would call in like the upgrading to nicer, like a larger room, like a suite. I called several times. I got that suite once. So I had 4 suite upgrades. I was able to use it once out of the whole time that I had. So I had 3 that just went, I couldn't use. And basically every time I would call, because you have to call in and then they'll tell you if it's available. Every time I called, it was never available. So the hotels where I was staying, I never was able to get that upgrade. So I'm not too familiar with Hilton and how their status goes as far as the upgrades and suite upgrades and all that. Okay, one more question, and then we'll go to the Amex Business Gold card. Let's see, 7 Lionel. I like Bangkok too. Inexpensive food and massages. I have long mango, sticky rice, and Thai. Okay. So 7 likes Bangkok as well. Maybe I'll have to go down there just to see. I didn't hear my buddy didn't have anything really good to say about it, so I was thinking, well, if I go to Thailand again, I probably won't go there. But if I do go to Thailand again, I do want to go to or when I go to Thailand again. This is not going to be anytime soon, but I want to go to Chiang Mai, and I'll probably stop off in Bangkok as well. All right, let me pull up the business card here. And let's look at this. Now, I haven't looked at this card yet, so I don't even know. I know they upped the annual fee, so I'm not even sure. Let's see if it's even on here yet. Like if they're advertising it yet. Let's see. Okay. Let's back out of this. So if you guys are just joining and you're wondering why we're doing AMEX Gold again, I made a mistake and I deleted it. Deleted the last video that I did last week where we talked about the AMEX Gold. And so I decided just to do another one because a lot of people liked it, they tuned in and they liked it. So I want to at least have that on here. So that's why we're doing it again. But it's different discussion, so it's not the same. And that's actually one good thing about live streaming. So let's say you do a video and you've done the video before, but the chat is different. And now that YouTube allows you to see the chat while you're watching it, even if you're watching it later, you can still see the chat and the questions and all that. And so that's something that I like about the fact that I can do AMEX Gold again, and you're going to have different stuff going on in the chat. So the Q&A is going to be different and all that. All right, so let's look at this card here. We have the American Express Gold card. So this is Business Gold. Now, I just pulled this up. I'm hoping it has some of the new stuff on here. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I think this is it because the annual fee is $295. I think that's what they upped the annual fee to. Now, if you guys see this and you say, oh, no, there's another one, just let me know. And if you could find it, then just post a link and we can go over to that one. But I believe this is it. Now, like I said, I haven't looked at this before, so this is going to be kind of the first time that I looked at this card. I have a couple of business cards because I do have a photography business. So I have the Chase Ink Business Plus and the Chase Ink Business Unlimited card. I'm not really too interested in getting a business card, at least I don't think at this point when it comes to the American Express. But we can look at this card anyway, and maybe this card makes more sense to get than getting the other AMEX Gold. Okay, so you get 4 times points. Adjust your spending solution. Okay, okay. So 4 times points that adjust to your spending solutions to help meet your business needs. Okay, so I guess you can pick your categories here. Earn 4 times membership reward points on 2 select categories where your business. Okay, so I can choose the different categories. So that's pretty interesting. That's pretty good. Let me see what's Lionel saying real quick. If you ever do, yes, I would love to come talk about. Okay, I do want to do and now we're getting off on something else. Let's hold off on this real quick because I want to answer this question. And I skipped down, so I'll go back and answer some of the other questions. But I just saw this pop up. I just want to make sure that I'm doing the right credit card. So Lionel's basically saying that if I ever do guests, that's something I want to do in the future. So if I ever have guest people come on and talk, I definitely want to do that. I have to figure out how to do the Google Hangout and all that stuff because I don't know how to do that yet, or I've never done it before. I don't think it would be that difficult, but I am interested in having people come on and just talk about travel, different places that we've gone and different places you've gone and experiences. Because overall, big picture, I want this to be where people can talk about different places they've gone and maybe entice you, or not entice sounds kind of weird, get you interested in going to different destinations and learning about different tips and stuff like that. So yes, definitely that's something, Lionel, we'll talk about that in the future. Okay, so let's go ahead and finish talking about this card, or get started talking about the card. So it looks like you can do categories, so you can select different categories and you can get 4 times points on those categories. So that's really interesting. Now, I've always been the type of person, and this is just me. Now, other people do what they want to do when they have business cards. But if I have a business card, I'm using it for business purposes. Now, I have a photography business. It's a home-based business, so it allows me to buy a lot of different things. But I want to make sure that I'm using it for business. I don't want to just, I'm going to a restaurant, so I'm going to use my business card, but it has nothing to do with business. It's not, I'm not working with the client or talking with the client or going out with the client. I'm just using it for my everyday stuff. I like to keep all my business stuff separate. So at the end of the year, when I do my taxes, it's easier that way because I know on my business card, all those items on there are business related. So that's the way that I like doing things. So the different categories, this is great. You can choose your categories, but I will be choosing categories that would be related to my business. So that's just the way I look at that. Travel is related to my business, and photography, I do a lot of travel photography, so that is related to my business. So if I'm booking airfare and things like that, I could still use this. But that's good that you can choose your own categories. It's pretty interesting. Okay, let's see. And okay, featured benefits. Now I'm going to look at, this is going to take a little bit of time because I haven't looked at this before, so some of this stuff I'm not going to know about. And if you guys know some stuff about this card that I haven't mentioned, please just chime in the chat and we can discuss that as well. Let's see, get up to 1 year free, both G Suite Basic for up to 3 users. Okay, so ZipRecruiter standard. I don't know what this stuff is. So this exclusive offer that they're talking about here with the G Suite Basic, that's not something that I'd probably use. I'm not even familiar with what that is. But that's definitely something that is specific to this card because I've never seen that before. So you have the flexible payment option, so you can pay over time, which is nice. So it makes it like a credit card, so it's not just like a charge card. You get 25% airline bonus. So how does that work? Back after you pay with points. Oh, so you get the 25% back. So if I'm paying with points, I get 25% back. That's huge. That's actually nice. So if I'm using points, I'm going to get a little bit back. So I'm not using all my points. So that's a good value. And let's see, what else do we have? Give me more. Give me more. Okay. So how 4 times points works? Airfare purchases directly from airlines. You can get 4 times points with that. And so that, like I said, it's a category thing. You have to choose the different categories. And let's see, each billing cycle for list plus 1 times points on all of the purchases. Okay, U.S. purchases made directly from select technology providers of computers, hardware, software, and cloud solutions. Okay, so you can get 4 times points on that if that's your category. And U.S. purchases for advertising and select media, online, TV, radio. So you can get 4 times points on that if that's your category. And then U.S. purchases on gas stations. That would be a huge one for me. And if I had this card, that's one that I would use. Now, like I said, I use my car for business purposes as well as for personal stuff. So I would have to kind of break that up. Let's see here. U.S. purchases for shipping. Okay, so that's good. You can get 4 times points on shipping. I do a lot of shipping, so that would really help out. And the sad part about it is you only can choose 2, but what I would do is maximize. So I would take the 2. Like shipping is probably one that I would utilize because I can get 3 times points with my Chase Sapphire Reserve for dining. So that's pretty good. Whereas shipping, I haven't found a card that's going to get me that 4 times value on shipping. So I would probably use it for that. And let's see, U.S. purchases at restaurants. Yeah, that like I said, it's good, but I can still get some pretty good value if I use other cards for that. So I would look at. I want to maximize my points. So I would look at some different cards when it comes to that. Let's see, U.S. purchases made directly. Okay, so we already talked about that. So the technologies. So if I had this card, and this is just for me how I would set it up. I would basically look at the shipping because all my shipping is business. Like I ship out, I sell my prints. So I sell my my prints. So I ship those out a lot, and I would use that. Now I ship them out to Amazon. I have an Amazon store. So I sell on Amazon as well. I do have to do shipping when it comes to that, so I can use it for that. It's U.S. Purchases of shipping only, which is fine because I very rarely, I can't think of the last time I was in another country and I shipped something out. So it's usually within the U.S. So I would definitely use it for that. And then the other one, advertising, I can't think of exactly how much I get with, I have the Chase Ink Business Plus card, and I believe I get advertising on that. So I might not need 4 times. Probably wouldn't need 4 times points for that. As far as the airfare, it'd be either the airfare or gas, one or the other. I'd have to think more about it. But it is nice the way that you can kind of set your categories. So that's pretty unique in this card. So 4 times points applies to the first 150,000 combined purchases, 2 categories each calendar year. Then earn 1 point per dollar on everything else. Okay, so if you hit that 150,000, then now you're only going to get 1 point per dollar on everything else, and then you have those 2 categories. So it's the combination of the 2. So pretty nice card. I mean, let's see, what else do we have? Points would get you one of these options. $500 in flight booking. Oh, they're just showing you the value, so you get the 50,000. I didn't even talk about that, did I? Or did they even talk about that? I don't know what the bonus is on here. Are they saying it's 50,000? See the value, membership, reward points. So I don't see the bonus on here. I'm sure there's a bonus, but I'm not seeing it. So if you guys know what the bonus is, please put it in the chat. It's just not showing me up top, or am I just completely missing it? Let's see, $295 annual fee. And introducing, yeah, I don't see it. Yeah, I don't see the bonus on here. So I'm sure they have a bonus, but I can't find it. And like I said, this is the first time that I've even gone to this page, this website. Usually I look at it a little before, but when I first started this stream, we start talking, and they're like, "Hey, you should talk about just to kind of mix it up a little bit," because I talked about the AMEX Gold, just the personal card last week, and then I deleted it, so I wanted to do it again. Someone said in the chat, you should talk about both, so that's why I added this one, and so I don't have all that information. I like to do research before, but unfortunately, I didn't do it on this one because of that. So I don't see what the bonus is on this card, which is unfortunate. So some of the other benefits here. What do we have? Baggage insurance plan. Okay, so you get the baggage insurance. That's good. And all this stuff I'm just going to kind of briefly go over. I would look at the fine print on these. Travel accident insurance, dispute resolution. Okay, Spin Manager. What is that with the Spin Manager mobile app? Okay, so you get access to this mobile app. Okay, so that's pretty much the main benefits of the card. Is this one card that would Would I get this one over the Amex Gold, the regular personal card? Probably not. I I'm good with what the other card is offering, and like I said, with the categories, it's one of these six categories. So I didn't see on here anything about supermarkets. So if I have like a personal card, I can use it at supermarkets, the 4 times posted supermarkets, U.S. supermarkets, with the Amex Gold, the regular one. That's big for me. Like I would really be into that. Shipping, with this card, shipping, I do a lot of shipping, but I already get a discount with shipping, so I could live without that, without the shipping, 4 times on shipping. So that's just kind of the way that I see it. So I would most likely get the other card over this card, and I like I don't mind having a business card, but I would prefer to have a personal card, just because, like I said, when it comes to business cards, and this is me, I only use them for business purposes. So I'd like to have a card that's more versatile, that I can use for business and personal. So if I have a personal card, I can use it. Oh, okay, I need to buy some advertisement. I can use a personal card for that, and just make sure that I have that. Uh, Make sure that I know I'm using it for business purposes when I do my taxes, but I don't have to use it. Like I feel, and this is just me, I just feel like if I have a business card, I shouldn't be using it for personal use. All right, and seven said it is 50,000, so 50,000 bonus points. And I guess I don't know what all the threshold. Let's see, he put a link here. Let's check this link out real quick. And like I said, I'm sorry I don't have all the information. I usually like to do some research, but this is kind of an impromptu look here. So we'll look at this link real quick as soon as it opens up. And okay, so AMEX Business Gold, 50,000 bonus available through Refer a Friend. Oh, so it's a Refer a Friend offer. Okay. So, and those are generally pretty easy. Like if you go down to the comments here, there's probably people that will post links if they allow it. There's probably some people that post something where you can get on there, or they'll let you know, hey, you can go here to get it, and that. So if you're interested in the card, definitely check this link that Seven put on here, and you can probably find that refer a friend link. All right, so the card looks pretty good. Now, like I said, American Express Gold, the personal card is probably a better fit for me, but that's just me. We all have different needs, so it might help you. Let's go. We're gonna answer some more questions here. Okay, Bangkok is a place you like it or not. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so Lionel's saying, and we talked a little bit about the language barriers. I actually missed a couple. Hold on, let me go back up. Oh, I missed a lot actually. Okay. Lionel, favorite. So Seven's talking about getting LASIK surgery in Thailand, right? Bangkok. I think that's what you guys were talking about. Um, okay. So Lionel says I have both AA cards, the City Advantage card, and the Barclay AA Red. Any thoughts on which one to keep? You're asking me questions about brands or companies that I no longer really like, so it's hard. So American Express, I'm sorry, American Airlines. I have the American Airlines like Premier card, whatever the Advantage card, their $95 annual fee one, and I will be getting rid of that one very soon. And I can't give you an honest answer on this. I don't like American Airlines. Their customer service has just been really bad in my experience, and so I'm moving over to United. So I don't know which one would benefit you more. Um, but when it comes to airline cards, just in general, they're they're good to have, but you really have to be committed to that airline. If you're not, I mean, they just kind of sit there, like the card that I have now, the Advantage card. I haven't flown on American Airlines in over a year. And so that card's just sat there. It really doesn't give me any benefit because you can get pretty good benefit if you're using the card to book travel on that airline. So the earn possibility is good when it comes to that, but usually the earn possibility on everything else is really not very good. Or either I have another card that's better, so it doesn't really benefit me. So I think I have like 18,000 points sitting in that account, and it doesn't go anywhere because I very rarely ever use that card because I really can't benefit unless I'm flying on that airline. So that's just been my experience. Uh, Airline cards are good when you get the free bag, but you have to fly on an airline. So right now I want to switch over to United, so I'll get the United card. That way I can get the free bag and the priority check-in um, and or priority boarding, and when I'm using that card, get the points. But that's I've always been. I just actually had a friend that hit me up about what card to get, and her friend her friend is a flight attendant with United, and so she was thinking, oh well, I'll get. Or I initially told her get the Chase Sapphire Preferred card. That's a card to get. Like you're just starting out, $95 annual fee. You want to start traveling. This is a good card to get because you have a lot of flexibility. So she started talking with her flight attendant friend, and she was like, "Oh no, get the Explorer, get the United Explorer card. You can get 50,000 bonus points and all this good stuff." And so my friend came back to me and said, "Yeah, she told me to get the the Explorer card, the airline card." And so my take on it, I personally, I mean, there's some benefits that you can get with the United card. I think you get the 2 lounge passes and you get some other little benefits, but I would go with the Chase Sapphire Preferred. You have more flexibility, and that's what I would try to explain to her. And when you're first starting out, you don't really know, like, you almost think, yeah, I want to fly. I want to travel, so I need to fly. So let me get an airline card. It just makes more sense. But if you're not going to be committed to that airline, or if you put yourself in a box where you can only really benefit by using that card if you want to stay with that airline, then you're kind of shortchanging yourself. You have the Chase Sapphire Preferred. Now you have an opportunity to transfer. You want to fly United? You want to see, you see your flight attendant friend or what have you? You're going to get 50,000 bonus points to get the card, or get the card and hit the minimum spend. And then you can transfer those points over to United and still fly on United if you want to do that. But then you also have other airline partners that you can transfer your points to. So it just gives you more flexibility, and you're not tied into just United. And so that's what I was trying to explain to her as far as cards go. Airline cards are okay, but they're not. I would much rather have a Chase Sapphire Reserve, a Chase Sapphire Preferred, a City Premier, a City Prestige card, AMEX Platinum, AMEX Gold, because now I have transfer partners, other airlines that I can transfer my points to, just in case there are no available space and I can't book directly with United. So that's my take on that. All right, let's see. And I know I didn't answer your question completely, Lionel, but it's hard for me because the Advantage card I don't really use, and I don't really like. Right now, I'm not liking American Airlines, so things could change in the future, and I might, when I get rid of this card, I might get the card in the future. But just right now, I haven't had a good experience with them. My buddy's flown with American Airlines several times, and he hasn't had a good experience with them. He's had some he's had some really bad experiences with him. He paid for first class, and I actually never even hit him up about this, but I just wanted to know how they worked that out. Like, he paid for first class, and on the way back from Thailand, and they canceled the flight. He had to fly the day after, so they put him up in a hotel, which was good, and then he had to fly economy. Basically, he just had to get back. So obviously, I'm sure they reimbursed him for the money that he paid in. But yeah, that it just happens so often that I'm hearing. My experience, my buddy's experience. I've talked to some other people about it, and I don't know. I haven't. I've haven't had any good experience. I haven't had very many good experiences. More bad experiences than good. And if I'm dealing with a company and I've had more bad experiences than good experiences, yeah, that's telling me something. I don't need to stay with them. Okay, Clifton. I was surprised I didn't have a hard problem with the luggage. Better than Paris, or with the language. I'm sorry, luggage. I'm thinking luggage, airlines. Okay, with the language better in Paris. Yeah, and if you're in tourist areas, you're generally going to deal with people who most of them speak some English. So I mean, English is kind of the universal language, or like most people, you can find someone that will speak English. You go to different hotels. If I'm traveling alone, I do like to stay in hotels as opposed to doing Airbnbs. If I'm staying with buddies, I like to do the Airbnb. But when you stay at a hotel, that's another good thing about staying with like American chains. So if it's a Hyatt, if it's a Hilton, if it's a Marriott, they usually have people that speak English. That's kind of one of the things. Even if they might not all speak English, but they'll have some people that speak English that are working the front desk at that time. So if you come in English speaker, they'll have someone that can help you. And that was my experience in Paris when I went to Paris. The English speakers at the front desk, and as well as like you go to the restaurant, English speakers. So I haven't had a situation where I wasn't able to communicate what I needed to someone. It just hasn't happened when I'm in another country. Like I said, usually hand signs work really well, and Google Translate that's an amazing app. So that's something you should check out. I would not, and this is one thing that I was uncomfortable with when I first started traveling, is they're not going to understand me. I don't want to go to this country because I don't speak the language. Well, if you only speak one language and you're trying to learn different languages just to go to those countries, you're not going to go to very many countries. It's going to take you a while to learn it. So just get out there. You'll figure it out. Most people, especially if you go to countries and they don't speak your language and you don't speak their language, my experience is people are they've been very patient. They're very patient with you. So you'll figure it out. You'll be able to get what you need. So, and if they know, like, oh, this person speaks English, they'll go grab that person and pull them, take them over to help you, so they can understand what you need or what you want. All right, let's see. Lionel 7, Bangkok is a place to go for holiday health medical travel. Okay, that's a good topic that I want to put in another video, like another live stream where we can just talk about medical health stuff, like going to different countries to get medical treatments. Because as you know, U.S. is pretty expensive to get some medical treatment done. And I know there are a lot of people that are afraid to go to different countries to get like medical procedures done. So I'd be interested to know, like, experienced people have gone to different places and gotten treatment, how they came out, how the treatment came out. And I mean, doctors are doctors, so they're going to be professional, and for the most part, you should have a pretty good experience. But I'd be interested to know how that is. Colombia is one and I've seen a few videos on Colombia. I've never had medical treatment in any other country, but Colombia is one that I hear is really reasonable to get treatment, dental as well as other procedures, and they're very professional and clean facility and all that. So, and excuse me, they're very reasonable as far as the prices. So, and that's what it comes down to. Like, I don't understand why in the U.S. our medication is so expensive, and then you go to another country and it's the same exact medication and it's not as expensive. So, and what comes to mind is Mexico. A lot of people go to Mexico to get their medication because it's a lot cheaper than it is in the U.S. And why is that if it's the same exact medication? All right. Let's see. Let's get down here. Who riding? What's going on? Lionel, never had any major language issues in any of the Asian countries I visited. Okay. And Lionel, okay, so we're talking about Bangkok. Okay, Seven's talking about the LAX Centurion is going to have a spa. Huh. That's interesting. So yeah, I'm all for it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm really I want to know when Centurion is gonna be at LAX, because that will really kind of push me to get the card. Uh, I I want my whole, and I talked about this last week, but last week video was deleted. So I want to have that experience. Like, my whole deal with travel is I want to have a good experience where I'm going and the destination where I'm going, but I also want to have a good travel experience. And in the past, my travel experience has been pretty bad because there are a lot of different things that just stress you out and frustrate you. Long lines stress me out. They frustrate me. So what do? You get global entry. So you have TSA pre-check, global entry. You have a separate line that you go through. That's a lot quicker. When you get to the checkpoint and they're going through all this stuff, take off your shoes, all that stuff. If you have global entry and TSA pre-check, you don't have to take your shoes off. You don't have to take your computer out of your bag. You don't have to take your cameras out of your bag. So you have these things where it's just less stressful. So I like that. If you have, and we just talked about airline credit cards. If you're committed to an airline, you have that airline credit card. Some of those credit cards they allow you to get like priority check-in. They also allow you priority boarding. So it just makes that a lot less stressful. So you can go in, you might have a separate line where you can go and you don't have to wait with everyone else to check your bag. You get free check bags in a lot of situations. So that's less stressful. You don't have to pay for bags, which is crazy because years ago, and I know I'm dating myself, but years ago, we didn't have to pay to check a bag. Like, you get one bag check free. Now we're paying, so you get a credit card, you don't have to pay anymore for that bag. And so it just makes that experience that much better, the travel part of the experience. So that's why I'm looking at the whole lounge. If you can get a lounge access, you get in there and just relax. You can eat free food, free snacks, drinks, all that stuff, and you're not in the regular terminal. So it just makes that experience that much more enjoyable. Because I know in the past that was one of the things I dreaded, going to the airport. Dreaded it. Even to this day, I dread it, but now I have these different little things that I can do just to make that experience a little less dreadful. And even like the going to the airport, LAX. Now I take an Uber. Pretty much every time I go, I'll take Uber. Occasionally, I will have a friend or a family member take me to the airport. If I do have a friend or a family member take me to the airport, I go to arrivals and not departing. So LAX is the way it's set up. It's always busy. So if you go into departing with everybody else, guess what? All these people that are going into departing, they're leaving. So you have more traffic there than you have down in the arrivals. So if you go to the arrivals, the way LAX is set up, you go into arrival, you drive into arrivals, you get out with your bag, you take a little escalator up one flight, and then now you're in boarding. Or I'm sorry, now you're in departing. So that's all you need to do, and it's that much quicker. And I've been at LAX on a Friday night wanting to go somewhere, and it's just bumper to bumper traffic to get there. And it takes from where I live right now, it takes me I'd say about 45 minutes to get to the airport, and it will take another half hour, maybe an hour. So in total, it takes me back an hour and 15 minutes, an hour and 30 minutes to get to the airport when it's only really like a 45-minute ride. So different things like that. That's one thing. Go to arrivals. Don't go up to departing if you're going to depart. So I know it doesn't kind of like, well, I'm departing. Why am I going here? So you have to know your airline, your airport too, because the way that's the way my airport's set up. Now I don't know different airports. They might have arrivals in a completely different place than where departing is. So if you go to arrivals, now you have to walk all the way over to departing. So, but in my situation, they're stacked on top of each other. So arrivals is underneath, departing is at the top. If you go to arrivals, you take an escalator right up and you're right there. Just get off. You can, and I think it's even to the same airport, like, or because y'all have the little signs for the different airlines. I think it's even pretty similar. I think it's the right stacked up on each other. So if I stop at Southwest at the arrivals, Southwest is up at the top, departing as well. So, all right. Let's see. What else do we have on here? Let's see. Clifton, you are not used to Bangkok will overload system, especially at night. Okay, so if you're not used to like Bangkok, he's saying that Clifton's saying it'll overload. You'll be overwhelmed with all this stuff that's out there. Probably like Vegas. The first time you go to Vegas, it's just like lights everywhere. Even this last time when I went to Vegas, I don't go to Vegas that often. And the funny thing is, I went to college out at UNLV, so I went to college in Las Vegas, and so I've gotten enough of that Vegas Strip. And when you live out there, and I lived out there for a year. Actually, how long did I live out there? 3 years. So when I lived out there, that was the last thing you want to do is go to the Strip. You're always going other places. Now, if you have friends in town, then you'll go to the Strip just to take them there because they want to go. And occasionally you'll go to the Strip because they have the nice restaurants. So, but other than that, I wanted to stay far away from the Strip. But this last time we went, the wedding reception was at one of the casinos, so we went on the Strip. And there's so much more. Like I haven't been on the Strip I've been on the Strip, but I haven't drove down the Strip in a long time. So like I go every year, and I'll go and stay usually on at one of the hotels in the Strip. But I'm only going for like, it's more business. So I'm going for a convention, a photography convention. So I generally don't go and walk the Strip or anything like that. I'm pretty much at the hotel, and I'll go to the convention. And that's pretty much where I'll stay. But this time we drove up and down the Strip, and there's so much more there, and lights and all that stuff. And yeah, it's overwhelming. Like the first time you go to Vegas, you're just like, there's just lights everywhere. So, yeah, you can get overwhelmed, definitely. That's for sure. Let's see. The message, corner fruit clothing. Okay, let's see. Lionel, Chinese tourism sector. So crowded. Okay. And I'm not sure what you're referring to. Let's see. Okay, who riding? Could you turn up the vocal? Can you turn your vocals up some? So am I low? Like you guys can't hear me? Is that what he's saying? Or am I too loud and he's saying get away from the mic? Okay, Clifton, very true about Bangkok. If you haven't been to Asia before, go to Japan, Singapore, Seoul, Taipei before going to Hong Kong and Bangkok. Okay. All right, so I'm going to skip through some of these just so we can get to some of the other stuff here. Okay, so Seven saying that Centurion Lounge is good but not great. Let's see. United Polaris Lounge at San Francisco is great. Is a great lounge. You know what's funny? I could have gone to that lounge because I flew the last trip when I went to Thailand. I flew business class, so I could have gotten to that lounge, but I only had a 45-minute layover, and so it was off the plane, on the plane. So I got off the plane, I went straight to my terminal, and when I got to the terminal, it was time to get on the plane, so I didn't have any time to go to the lounge, but I would have liked to have gone to that lounge. Let's see, the reason I always get a local SIM card so that I don't have to worry about getting lost. Google Maps. Okay, so Seven's talking about getting a SIM card so you won't get lost when you're using Google Maps. One thing that I would advise people is you can get a Google Map offline as well. So you can download the area. So let's say you're you're going to be in Phuket, Thailand. I can download that area within a range, and usually the range is pretty big. So I'll know. So I'll have the Google Maps. So it'll download to my phone, and then when I open up my phone, GPS will tell me where, it'll locate me, and then the map is already there. So I can just look. I can even do drive drive directions. So drive. What am I thinking of? Drive by, whatever they call it, directions. So you can put it in just like a regular Google map, where you put in driving directions and it'll take you point by point. So that's one thing that you can do. You can download that. Now, one of the frustrating things, and I haven't figured this out yet, and I don't even know if it's available, but when you download that Google map, you're not able to do the walking directions, which that's what I would really want. Now, I can see where I am, find where the location where I want to go, and you can even do searches where you can find different restaurants and stuff like that. But the only thing is, it won't do the walking directions where I can, like, you can do bus directions, car directions, and walk directions and stuff with the regular Google map. This one doesn't allow you to do that. Like, I haven't been able to figure out how to do the walking directions where I can just hit walk and it'll show me how to walk to that different destination. All right. Diamond status with Amex Hilton Aspire. Okay. Yeah. And let's see. Amex gives you the Hilton Gold. There's Diamond or Gold. What are the extra benefits of Diamond over Gold? And I don't even, like I said, I don't even have either of those cards, and I don't know what the difference in the benefits of the elite status would be from. And what Seven's asking, what's the difference between gold status and diamond status with Hilton? And offhand, I don't know. But I just my experience, even if they flaunt all these different things different benefits that they offer, usually the experience isn't that much better. I haven't found it to be. So for me, I mean, that's kind of steep if you have the Hilton Aspire card, which is a $400 annual fee card, and then you have the American Express Platinum card, which is a $550 annual fee. That's pretty steep. So I would want to get a lot out of that Hilton plat or diamond status. And I don't know why I keep saying platinum. Like even Hyatt, I said platinum. It used to be Hyatt, the Hyatt diamond card. Hyatt diamond status. All right. Okay, 750,000 miles. Okay, we talked about that. For those who travel a lot, consider using T-Mobile. So I heard about this. So T-Mobile gives you the free unlimited LTE. Now, let's see. I was in South Africa, Peru, and was watching PewDiePie. No problem. Okay. So Brian's basically saying that if you get T-Mobile, they offer free unlimited LTE data. I've never had T-Mobile, so I don't really know how their service is. I have Verizon right now, and I'm bad about that. Like what I do basically is I just make my plan like an international plan, which doesn't give me very much when it comes to data or talk and all that. And then I just use Wi-Fi. So I just have it for emergency purposes. I haven't gotten to the point yet, and that's something that I need to do. Like Seven was talking, getting a SIM card, getting to that point where you get a SIM card and you just slap in the SIM card from wherever you're traveling to. I haven't gone that high tech yet. So I just use Wi-Fi, and most places, and especially if it's a tourist area, they're gonna have Wi-Fi. But yeah, that's just been my experience. But I've heard about T-Mobile doing the unlimited, which I think is really nice. Let's see. Do you like Delta? So Jeremy's asking me if I like Delta. I have not flown on Delta in a very long time. The last time I flew on Delta was 2008. So it's been that long. And it was fine. I mean, I didn't have any real issues. And the only reason I know it was 2008 is because I flew out to Washington, D.C. For an inauguration. So that's why I knew it was Delta. And actually, I flew up on a different airline. I flew back on Delta because we left early, and that was the only airline we could book was Delta at that time. So I don't have anything bad to say about them. I don't or good really. I mean they were fine. I definitely the customer service was a lot better than my experience with American Airlines. So all right, Brian. When I was in Hong Kong last year, T-Mobile was only getting 2G speed. Okay, and let's see 7. I'm in San Francisco, so must get United Explorer card since I usually buy the cheapest ticket. Okay. Yeah, and it depends too. That's a good point that Seven's making. So it depends on where you live. You might live in an area where there's a hub, and it's better to go with that airline card. So he's talking about he gets the United Explorer card, mainly because he lives in San Francisco. So they have a hub there, and you can get cheaper tickets to fly out because they have a lot more planes there. So the more planes, the more flexibility you'll have, as well as you can get some cheaper tickets. So if you know your area wherever you live, if it's Delta, if it's United, if it's American Airlines, if there's a hub nearby, then it might be in your best interest to get that credit card because you can benefit more that way, and you get cheaper tickets, which is important. So I don't, and just so you know, I don't use points for all my airfare. Like I will look at the benefit, the value. So if I'm in a situation where I'm flying somewhere, especially if I'm flying somewhere that's not far, like if I'm going to Vegas, I drove to Vegas this time, but if I was flying out to Vegas, I'm paying for that ticket. If I'm taking a trip to San Francisco, I'm paying for that ticket because the ticket's not that expensive. I'm not going to waste points on that. Even some places that might seem a little far, I might do position myself. So, and when I say position myself, let's say I want to go to Colombia, and I know I'm going to fly to Florida anyway, and I start checking the available points, like for seats, like available reward seats, and there's nothing available coming from LAX to Florida to go into Florida. So I don't just give up. Basically, what I'll do is I'll say, okay, well, where else can I fly to that will have an award seat that goes to Colombia? So let's say if I book a flight to, I'm just giving an example, but from Los Angeles to Houston to Texas. If I book that flight and if I actually pay for that flight, or if I use points, I can do either or. Can I catch a flight from Houston to Colombia, and is there a reward seat available there? So I can do it that way. So you can do 2 reward seats. You have an extra layover, but you can set it up that way. Or what I like to do is just pay cash. So I'll pay cash to fly out to Dallas or to Houston, or I'll pay cash to fly out to Florida, and then from Florida use points to fly to Colombia. So you can kind of do points and cash that way. And I've done that for a few trips, but you just kind of set yourself up. Or you can use points to fly to Florida. So if I want, because Florida is kind of the longer haul from Los Angeles to Florida, it's a longer haul. From Florida to Colombia is like a 2-hour flight. From LAX to Florida, it could be 5 hours, 4 to 5 hours. So I can use points to fly to Florida if there's an available seat, and then from Florida pay to fly over to Colombia, which is like under $200 usually. So that's just, you just have to kind of work it out that way. But definitely, if there's a hub in the area, you might want to consider flying that airline. And I know I talk about American Airlines and I keep talking about them being bad and all this. That's just been my experience. There are a lot of people who fly American Airlines and they're very happy with them. So don't just take my experience for the way it is. But I know if I'm not having a good experience, I'm just going to look at another airline where I'm having a better experience. Okay, let's see. I would never book a long haul Asia flight on American carriers. Asian carriers are so much better. Yeah, the Lionel raises a really good point as well. And this is, my experience across the board. Like, if you fly on these foreign airline carriers, they're generally much better when it comes to the food, when it comes to the customer service, and everything. I think Americans are what we accept when it comes to airline, like airline service, is not acceptable in other countries. And so they have better customer service and all that. That's just their standard. Like their standard is a little higher when it comes to expectations. And just like little things like slippers and stuff like that, you won't get that on an on an American carrier. But you'll get that on most Asian carriers, most foreign carriers. They're going to give you amenities kit with the slippers and all that kind of stuff. Even if you're flying in economy, they're going to have the food is going to be a little higher end. The service is generally going to be better, and most flights they're going to speak English if they're flying to the U.S. So just something to kind of think about. And when you start flying these different different foreign airlines, you'll see the difference. But usually that's been my experience as well. So let's see. What airlines do you like? Okay. So Clinto, I don't know if I'm saying your name right. Clintos. All right. He's asking me what airlines do I like. So I like JetBlue. I really like JetBlue. That's probably my favorite airline to fly. And the main reason is they fly to a lot of destinations that I like to go to. One being Colombia. So I can always catch a flight with them. I don't have a JetBlue card, but that's another card that I was considering getting because I do like to fly JetBlue. And one thing I like about JetBlue is they have the extra even more seats, what they call them. So the extra legroom seats. And I like that. That's good enough for me. I don't need to fly business class. If I'm going to Colombia, I go out to Fort Lauderdale. So from LAX to Fort Lauderdale, from Fort Lauderdale to Colombia. And if you fly on an even more seat, it's fine. And they're generally pretty good. Like I haven't had a real bad experience flying on JetBlue. They're a solid airline. United, I'm pretty happy with United. I've flown on United a few times. I've flown on their business class or Polaris business class, and it was pretty good. So I like United as well. And I've flown on some foreign carriers that I was really impressed with. I've flown on Air China, and that was from China to Thailand, and that was a pretty good experience as well. And that was a business class flight, so that was good. And then I've flown on Hanan Air, and I guess Hanan Air, and I don't know much about like some of these foreign air carriers, but Hanan Air is more of like the economy airline. But I flew on their business class, and then I flew economy, and both the customer service was exceptional. I've never seen customer service on an airplane like that before, and the seats were very comfortable. Business class, they have the lie flat seats, but they're a little different. They're like we're accustomed to having like a little cocoon kind of setup where you have the seat. So you have the seat here, and then you have that little area that kind of blocks you off, and then you sit in the seat, and then it slides down like that. So you lay like this. I think I held that right. So like the cocoon. I don't know if you guys saw that on the camera, but so you sit like that. The seat kind of comes down like this. Well, in Hanan Air, their first class, it was just pretty much, it looked like a regular seat, and it was a lot larger, but it looked like a regular seat, and it pretty much folded all the way down. It just collapsed down. You did have a little bit of a barrier behind you, so when it did collapse down, you did have your privacy, but it was a little different. You didn't have that little kind of cocoon where it kind of comes or it like wraps around. You didn't have that, but the experience was great. It was really good. And when you're sitting there, you're sitting right next to someone else. So I was lucky that there was no one else sitting right next to me, but you are sitting right next to someone, so you don't have that much privacy when it comes to that. But their customer service was just exceptional. The flight attendants, they were all over the place, helping you out, doing this, doing that, cleaning the restrooms, which is one thing like I very rarely see, and I'll tell you, like when I fly domestic carriers, I very rarely see flight attendants going to the restroom, cleaning the restroom. Hanan Air, they were in there like every 15 minutes. And when you're sitting on a long flight, you just, to pass time, you're just constantly looking at different things. And I'm watching these flight attendants go into the restroom. Some people go in the restroom. 15 minutes later, flight attendant was in there cleaning the restroom, and then she's out, and then they go back in there, and then she's back. It was good. Food was good, and this is all economy that I'm talking about right now. The food was good. Amenities kit, they give you an amenities kit, which not all airline companies do, so that was good. So all in all, it was a pretty good experience. I've flown on Alaska. Alaska was a pretty good experience as well. So I would say my top airline is JetBlue, and then as far as getting to where I need to go, like JetBlue is perfect for the trips that I like to take. But if I need to go, like, let's say, to a lot of these different destinations that I can't take JetBlue to fly to, then it would be United, or it would be actually Alaska Airlines. And the reason I say Alaska is because Alaska has some travel partners that will travel, that you can go anywhere. Like Hanan Air is a partner with Alaska Airlines. So when I booked that Hanan Air trip back, I booked it on Alaska. So I got on Alaska. I had points on Alaska. I booked it, and it was showing me that Hanan Air would be the airline that would be taking me. The only problem with that is that you can't always get your seat. So you can't always choose a seat because you're flying on a different carrier. So you have to take that in consideration as well. Okay. All right. Let's move on through because we're going to be here forever if I don't speed up here. Brian, you could double dip points. You can get credit card points once you link the app. You can get points the app gives you. Okay. Yeah, I don't know exactly what you guys are talking about. I think maybe I missed something. You can double dip points. Now that you say that, I do want to talk about one thing too when it comes to points. You can also get, let's just put it this way. A lot, when people think about credit cards, they think of, okay, well, I have to use that credit card in order to get points. And part of that is true. There are other ways to maximize points. So they have portals like Chase, the Ultimate Rewards program. They have portals where I can get points. Like I can, let's say I'm shopping online and I want to shop at, and I'm just using just any random store. Just I want to shop at this store. You can look on their portal first to see if they have a connection or if they partner with this whoever. I'll use Home Depot. You want to buy something at Home Depot, and you want to either buy it online or have it shipped to the store and go pick up, or do the pickup thing that they do now. Like which Best Buy, they do a really good job. Best Buy is probably a better example. So Best Buy does a really good job of, you can order online, pick it up like in an hour. And I just started using that feature, and it works. I like it. So basically, you can go on the portal. So go on Ultimate Rewards portal. And when I say portal, they have a portal where you can book travel, and then they also have portal where you can make purchases. And so I go on the portal. All I need to do is find Best Buy, click on the Best Buy link, and it will take me to the Best Buy website. So it's the same website, but the link is tied to the Ultimate Rewards program in some way. So I'm gaining extra points. Plus, if I get extra points just for booking, and like I'm using Best Buy, but let me use an even better example. Let's say Staples. I have a card, so I have the Chase Inc. Business Plus card that gives me 5 points if I shop at office supply stores. So Staples would be one of them. So whatever Staples is giving me, I get the 5 times points plus what Staples is giving me in their portal. So in the portal, Staples might be giving me 2 points for every dollar spent. So now I'm going to get 5 points for every dollar spent because I'm booking it, because I'm using the card that will allow me to get 5 times points at office supply stores. And then I'm getting an additional 2 points back because I'm going through the portal to purchase whatever I'm purchasing. So you can maximize points that way as well. I don't use that often, I'll be honest with you, because a lot of my purchases are on Amazon. That's just kind of my go-to. And you could also get an Amazon card as well to get points. But a lot of the things that I purchase is on Amazon, but you can go through their portal, use their portal, and like I said, Best Buy is really good because you can just get on there. I can purchase something like I just got this Osmo Pocket, this new little video camera, which is great for travel. Well, I haven't taken it on a trip yet, but it's an ideal camera. It's made for travel because it's small and it's 4K, 6 frames per second, and it's good. Anyway, you can book it, or I'm sorry, you can purchase it online. It'll be ready in an hour. They'll let you know. They'll send you a text when it's ready. You go by the local store and pick it up. So it's a real good deal. But you can get extra points that way. So just something to think about. Okay. JetBlue Mint. Yeah, let's see. Wow, this chat jumped a lot. Let me see where we left off. Okay, so Seven's talking about United charges carry on if you buy the economy basic. Yeah, that is true. And they really get finicky. Yeah, that's why it's best to, if you want to go with United, and I think if you have the card, I think if you do have the Explorer card, you'll still be okay because you get the free check bag. But they give you an economy basic. So you get regular economy. Economy basic is cheaper, but you have to pay for a carry-on. So I guess you could only bring on a personal item. You can't bring an actual carry-on. So it is what it is. Okay, Wells Fargo, Propel, and Uber Visa are great cards. Both have no annual fee and have no foreign transaction fees. Great rewards for dining, flying, transit. Really awesome cards. I have both. Okay, so that's Sean saying that. Yeah, I don't know much about the Wells Fargo Propel card. I do have a Wells Fargo bank account. I do get these flyers all the time for the Propel card, but I just haven't really looked into the card. My main thing, though, is I'm looking for transfer partners. So if they offer some really good transfer partners that I would use, then that's what would entice me in getting the card because I'm doing these points. I'm trying to get these points for travel. That's my main thing. The Uber card, I haven't really looked into that card. So I really couldn't tell you much about it. I don't use Uber very often, and I know you can earn points doing other things with the Uber card, but I just haven't really looked into getting that card. Let's see. I've been eyeing the Wells Fargo Propel. Okay, so he's talking about that too. Yeah, that's one of those cards that I haven't looked at. Maybe I should look at it a little more. Like I said, the main thing is the transfer partners. That's what I'm really focused on. Who remembers a few years back, all the missing airplanes back to back? Oh, God. We're talking about missing airplanes. Yeah. I don't even know what ever happened. I never followed that 377. Did they ever find it? Or? Yeah, that's crazy. Okay. I'm not happy with Wells Fargo or Uber. I would rather have a travel card like the Chase Sapphire Preferred, Capital One Ventures, Citi Thank You Premier. Okay, that's Mark. How you doing, Mark? Yeah, I don't. Like I said, I haven't really looked at either of those cards, so I can't really speak on the pros and cons of the card. But I definitely would say Chase Sapphire Preferred, and even the Capital, the Venture card now is a good card because they now have transfer partners. Citi Thank You, the Citi Thank You points. They also have transfer partners. So that's my main thing. I don't really know about those two cards. So I'll learn more about them. And if you guys have any more comments that you want to put on there about those cards, the benefits of the cards, please put them in the chat and we can talk about it. Okay, so JetBlue Mint. That's what Seven's talking about. Thumbs up. Yeah, JetBlue, and I had their Mosaic status for a year, and it was pretty good. It was a pretty good experience. They don't really offer you a whole lot. I think you get free alcohol, and you get the priority boarding, and then you have your own, when you check in, you have your own little area that you can go in. But yeah, it's the Mosaic is there's only one level of Mosaic, and then they also have the Mint. Mint is their business class. So they have planes. Some planes have business class seating, which is nice. So and they're pretty good about, like, JetBlue. The weird thing is, like, you have JetBlue, you have Southwest, and I always compare them to Southwest. And Southwest doesn't have like to my knowledge, they don't have like a business class. And even Alaska Airlines, they have like a business, or they call business first class, just extra wide seat, but nothing elaborate. No lie flat seats like JetBlue has. Their mint class is lie flat. You can lie flat and go to sleep, and they don't really offer that with some of the other carriers that I think are in the same caliber. Yeah, that's another reason I like JetBlue. Like you can get some really reasonable flights, and they're in that same category as Southwest and Alaska Airlines and that, but they offer that lie flat seat. So if you want to go from LAX from Los Angeles to New York, you can sleep on the plane. Where if you're flying Southwest, you're not going to be able to do that. So, or at least not lay down and go to sleep. All right. Let's see, Sean. I have the preferred, as well as. Oh wait, let me read this again. I have the preferred as well, Mark. I have 3 other good rotations. I've been any issues. Okay, so you guys are talking about something. Let's see. And some of these you have to understand. Like if I read it and it's pertaining to something else, and it's really not a question, then I kind of just move on. So if you have a question directly to me, then you can put at Travel Explore Click, or if you just ask the question directly, I'll skim over everything. But if I think it's something else, then like pertaining to questions that you guys have been going over, then I'll just skip by it. Let's see. It's going to get cashback card, Wells Fargo, Uber. Okay. I'm going to move through these a little fast because I want to get down to the bottom here. And let's see. YouTube channel. Okay, 7. Check out Sam Chewy YouTube channel. He has many airline experience videos, especially business and first class. Yeah, there are a lot of good channels out there, and some of them they don't even talk. I don't know if this is one of them, but it's kind of crazy, but it's interesting. Where they'll just have their camera, they'll walk onto the plane, they'll sit down, they'll show you all the different little amenities. There's no talking, you're just watching them. And then they'll get up in the air and fly, and they'll show you what they eat and all this stuff. And then they'll land, and that's the whole experience. But that's one good thing like about YouTube. One of many good things is that people put out stuff about everything. So if you've ever thought about, okay, what's it like to fly United Polaris business class, you can just type that in the search, and up pops up all these different videos. And you can even get it fine-tuned down to the actual plane. So if it's a Dreamliner, you can get it down to the Dreamliner 787 flights. You can even get it to flights from here to Japan or here to wherever, and they'll show you pretty much what you're going to get, what your experience will be like. And so I think that's really cool because before I flew the Polaris, United Polaris, I wanted to know what the plane looked like, right? I wanted to know how the experience was going to be. So I got on YouTube, and they showed me all that information. So I even knew when I got down, sat down, I knew, okay, there's a compartment over here. You can put stuff there. There's this here. There's that there. There's slippers down at your feet, all this different stuff just by looking at some of these different videos. Another good website to go to, and I do this all the time when I'm booking my flight, and this is pretty important. So let me I want to go to this one. Let's pull this up real quick. When I'm booking my flight, I'm looking at the different airplanes. Let's see. And it's important for me to know what's going on with the plane, like what type of plane it is, what the seats look like, and like business. This is especially if I'm doing business class. So if I'm going to use points to fly business class or first class, I want to know what I'm getting. Like I don't want to just get on a plane and not know exactly what that airline is offering. And let me just show you here. Don't know your flight number. I just want to pull up a plane. Let's go to this camera angle here. Okay, so Seat Guru, this is an excellent site for just finding out what your plane has, the amenities. So it's kind of like, if you think of it as like you're looking for a hotel. Let's see, New York. Let's say you're looking for a hotel and you have all the amenities. They show you all the different amenities. That's what this is. This is like. So the reason that I like going on here is they will show you, like, depending on where you're flying and when you're flying, they'll show you the exact plane that you're going to be flying on. And they'll show you what the business class looks like. Like, you can look on here and they'll show you this is the actual plane. So this is a plane. If I were going to fly today from Los Angeles to New York, this is what I would be flying on. Okay, so you can even put down the flight number and it will pull up the exact plane. And what's good about this, so you have United Polaris right up here, so you can see the United Polaris. This is what they're offering here, and it's a flatbed seat. And there's certain things that I want to know. And different planes, like you see, these are tandem here. They're side by side. Now, on different planes, the 787, the one that I flew out to Thailand, I flew United Polaris. I think it's the odd number seats. You have a better experience because you're by yourself. You don't have a tandem. So it's just one seat and then there's no seat next to you. So you have more privacy, right? So you might not know that, or you probably wouldn't know. Well, you could know it if you're booking, and when you book and you look at your seat, you say, okay, I want to sit here. You can choose your seat. But on here, it will tell you as well. And it will also tell you some of the seats that have like caution, like maybe you shouldn't sit in this seat because, and then they'll explain to you different reasons why you might not want to sit in that seat. It might be too close to the restroom. It might be a seat that doesn't recline back. Different things like that. So it really helps you out. Like you have red here. The C, let's see. This is however the row has misaligned windows. So it even goes that far. So if you're thinking, okay, well, I want to be able to see out the window. Well, if you sit in this seat right here, you're not going to be able to see out the window. It's going to be misaligned. So you might have to lean forward to see out the window or lean back. So different things like that. So just something to think about before you book your flight. Get on Seat Guru. Check out the different things they have to offer. And like I said, if I'm putting in a lot of points, if I'm gonna spend, I guess you can say, spend 70,000 points on a first class ticket or a business class ticket, I want to know what I'm getting, because that's a lot of points. I don't want to just give them away. So I want to know exactly what I'm getting. So this is where I go, and they'll even show you the pitch and how much room you're going to have in that certain area, as far as economy plus, and then the regular economy seats. They'll show you how much pitch you have and how wide the seat is and all that. And then you'll also have people that will post pictures. So they'll get on the plane and they'll post pictures. They'll show you their leg room and just kind of what to expect on that plane. So it's a pretty good setup. And I definitely would recommend going on here. So usually I'm looking at flights and then I'm looking at Seat Guru at the same time to see, okay, yeah, that looks good or that doesn't look good. And that determines, in a lot of situations, that's going to determine what plane I fly, because in certain situations you'll see, okay, you have 3 or 4 different planes that are going around the same time. How do you choose one? Well, I get on Seat Guru and I start looking at the different planes and seeing which ones have the better overall setup, and then I go with that. All right, let's see. I have the no annual fee AMEX Blue, cash mainly used if for groceries and some department stores, but Wells Fargo, Propel, and Uber are great cards. I'm overseas right now and I'm using both of them. Okay, yeah, and just to each his own. I'm telling you, like, if it works for you, use it. If it doesn't work for you, then use something else. But there's no card that's, in my mind, there's no card that's like the best card ever for everyone. It just doesn't work that way. Let's see. Brian says you get 5 United points if you shop at Home Depot with United Mileage Plus app. Link any other credit cards. The points here to, let's say, link any other credit card and get points from there too. Okay, so he's talking about like the I think you're talking about the portal. It's booking at Home Depot or buying at Home Depot. Yeah, so those portals are really good. If you do shop online a lot, you can really benefit from using them. Let's see. Yes, I don't get lounge access with Diamond if there is one. Gold gets lounge access only if you are upgraded to lounge floor. Okay. So you guys are talking about the Hilton Diamond status. Okay. Mark says he's doing well. All right. Some Malaysia errors disappeared. Yes, a lot. Airplanes disappeared. Air cash rewards card. They're adding new benefits like rotating categories and cash back. Okay. Yeah, and I'm seeing the banks like Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citi's already there, Chase is already there. I mean, they have pretty good cards, but you see Bank of America and Wells Fargo trying to jump in there and offer some reward cards, travel reward cards. But I still think Chase is in my opinion, and for what I need it for, Chase is the number one ecosystem. Let's see. Thoughts on throwing a dart on the map and just going? Yeah, that's what Brian's saying. Maybe I should throw a dart at a map, and wherever it shows, they go there. Yeah, I mean, okay, so I already have one trip that I'm going on every other year. I go on a family trip to Hawaii, so I'm going to Kauai. That's already set, and that will be in the summer. So I'll probably do 2 trips prior to that, and so that's what I'm trying to think of now. One of those trips is probably going to be Colombia again, and then the other trip is going to be up in the air. I'll have to figure out where I'm going to go for that other trip, and then I'll do one more trip or 1 or 2 more trips from August to December. So I'll do at least 1 trip, maybe 2. So that's kind of what I'm figuring out. But I don't know. It's not too hard for me to figure out where. I mean, usually I'm traveling with my buddy, so we just kind of start thinking about, okay, well, I'd like to go here because of this, to take pictures of that, and then we just go with it. So that's kind of the way we do it. It's not really. I know now with getting these travel points and all that stuff that I pretty much have the flexibility as far as money is concerned to use these points and travel to pretty much anywhere. So I'm not really, it doesn't make it that hard because I'm not thinking, oh, I can travel to this place, but this is the only place that I can travel all year. Like, this is what my budget allows me to travel for the year. When you have points, you can travel to a lot of different destinations, and it can equal, like, I just had a buddy tell me that he went to China, and he did like one of these, it's like a group trip, but kind of like a tour, guided trip, where you have like a tour guide that takes you all around and everything. And he paid $6,000, and I believe, I don't know if it was just for him, maybe it was him and his wife, but they paid $6,000 to go on this trip. Well, that's a lot of money, and that might be the only trip they take that whole year, because $6,000 is pretty substantial when it comes to traveling. So with points, I know I can travel to a few different destinations for $6,000 and points. I can travel, if I work it right, I could easily travel to 6 different destinations with $6,000. And generally, I try to set a cap at $500 of actual money that's coming out of my pocket, and then use points to complement the rest, or to pay for the rest. So I can travel a lot of different places. I'll probably run out of points before that $6,000 if I go with the $500 thing. But that's where you really have to kind of balance it. And so if there's a situation where I'm running low on points, well, then I'm going to use a little bit more cash and then use my points to complement that. or get some more credit cards. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Bank of America. Okay, we went over that. Throwing a dart. Okay. Thoughts on Jet Smart or OX Jet? Are those one of those like the private jet kind of setup thing? I don't know if I know what Jet Smart is. I know. Let me look that up real quick because I know that there was JetBlue was, and I think that was Jet Smart. JetBlue had like some program where they were working with like these. Yeah, it's like it's not your private plane, but you're flying with other people. But it's more of like it's a small plane, a small like what am I thinking of? What's the word? Small. Oh God, let's look at this real quick. Yeah, those are expensive though. $3,000. Private jet. That's what I'm thinking of. So it's more of like a private jet, or it is a private jet, but you're not alone in the jet. You have other people that are in there as well, and you can kind of fly with them. I don't know. I don't need all that. I really don't. Um, I don't need to have a private jet or or fly on a private jet. I'm good with flying. I would much rather, at this point, use my points to fly business class or first class on a major airline, as opposed to doing a little private jet. Because I just saw that one was like $3,000. I don't know how the points work with that. I don't even know if they offer points or allow points. But yeah, South Florida starts from $3,995. That's just way too much money. It's not worth it for me. Now, if I can do it with points, it would be nice. Now this flight looks good. Los Angeles to San Francisco, it's $79. That's not bad. Go to Vegas, $79. And I'm thinking this is one way. It's probably not round trip, but that's not bad. That's not a bad experience. And it's nice. Look at that. You got your own little personal space there. So yeah, that's pretty nice. Um, but I really don't want to spend that much money. If it's out of pocket, I don't want to spend that much money. If I can use points for it, then it'd be a different story. But I already know that there's certain airlines I can use points for, so why not use points and fly? I like flying in luxury if I possibly can, but it's not a deal breaker. I'm not opposed to flying economy, and the main thing is I want to get to that destination. If it's a long haul flight, I try to do everything that I possibly can to fly at least business class, so I can have a seat where I can lay it back and take a nap. So that's my main thing. All right, Mark says hi. All right, Mark, you've been in here already. What's up? Let's see. Sean, traveling to Colombia is a good topic for the next live chat. You know what's funny? And I'm gonna do some videos on Colombia, like live chats on just Colombia. People are really intrigued with Colombia, and it's one of two things. People are intrigued, or they're just like, no way, I would never go there. It's crazy, it's dangerous, it's not safe, and all that. Which is all false. I've been there 3 times now, and I've been to 3 different cities, and they've all been fine. They've all been safe, and I actually felt, and that was one of the first things that I noticed about when I went to Colombia was the fact that, let's switch over to the chat, the fact that how safe it was, like how safe I felt, I should say, because I've always been nervous, and this is just coming from just fear from like living in the U.S. your whole life, and the first place that I traveled to was Colombia, and I was afraid to go like out of the country because I was thinking like I was thinking that it would be crazy and scary and all this stuff. So I go to Colombia, and we get off the plane and go to the hotel. People are all friendly and nice and everything, and then we go out for out, start walking around the city and all that. And this was in Bogota, and I felt safe. Like I felt like I was in the U.S. And as far as like police, they were everywhere. Like not in a bad way. When I say everywhere, you're thinking, well, why are the police everywhere? What's going on? Must be something going on. Well, they have a lot of, and this is my experience in Colombia. Period. The police presence is everywhere, and it's you have so you have different type of police out there. So you'll have the uh, military. So you have the federal, the military that's out there, and they usually don't carry guns, but they're out just walking around. And then you'll have the actual municipal police that are out in the wherever the area is, and they're usually either on motorbikes or they have trucks, and they're walking around. So they're visible. And then you have like traffic police. So you have traffic police that will drive around and give people tickets and all that. And then I think you have like highway police. It's kind of like, I guess it's kind of like the U.S. really. So you have highway police that will work on the highways, just like we have like highway patrol, something like that. And they're everywhere. So if you feel in danger or anything like that, you have police there, and it's not a corrupt country where you're thinking, oh well, the police are in on they've been bought out by these people, and no, it's not like that. I mean, they're good. They're my experience. This is my experience. I'm only speaking of my experience, but they've been good. And I've even been pulled over several times. I actually had a video. I did a video on Colombia where we got pulled over, and I think I did that video. I'm not even sure, but I will. You know what? I am gonna do a stream on that. Actually, next week we'll do a stream on Colombia. But we were out, and this wasn't the situation where I had video of, but we were out. It was late at night. It was like Sunday. I think it was a Sunday, and we were coming home from a club, and we were in a taxi, and we went through a checkpoint, and it wasn't like a checkpoint, like a setup checkpoint. It was just pretty much two police officers on the side of the road. They had a motorcycle, so the motorcycle was just parked there. They were standing there, and one just walks out in the street, puts his hand out, and we're in a taxi, like I said, so it's three of us, and they stop us, and we get out of the car, or they tell us to get out of the car. And this is one of those deals where English is like, the taxi driver doesn't speak English, and the police they really didn't speak English. So this was a lot of hand signs and all, trying to do things. But then tell us to get out of the car, ask us for our passports, pat us down, and just send us on our way. But it was one of those deals where they did all that, but they were very friendly. And then even at the end, it was all like, like they were kind of like joking back and forth with us and stuff like that. But it was just one of those things, just random. Okay, we're gonna stop these guys, but it wasn't. I wasn't afraid. I didn't think, oh, am I gonna have to like give these guys money, or are they gonna take something from it? Not at all. Didn't feel that at all. And so it does happen. Like you will have contact with police, but I've always had good experiences with them. And even every time that I've gone, even this last time that we went, we got pulled over. I'm with the guide that's taking us around, and we get pulled over. I think we got pulled over once, and then the other time we went through another kind of checkpoint that they had set up, and that time that's the one I had video of, where we just pull it, and I didn't set it up that way. I just had the camera I have a little magnet that I usually put on the top of the hood, or actually on the roof of the vehicle, and so I was recording other stuff, and we came around. And then, sure enough, same situation. Officers had a motorcycle, or they're standing by a motorcycle. This time it was 4 of them, I think 4 or 5 of them, and they were just randomly pulling cars in and stopping them. Checked our guide. Of course, he's from Colombia, so they checked his ID, his driver's license, and that's it. We asked him, "Do you want to see our passports?" He was like, "Nah, don't worry about it." So all he did was they had like a little phone. He just scanned the driver's license to make sure it was okay, and then gave it back to him, and we took off. So, yeah, it's a very safe country. And I mean, there obviously, just like any country, there's certain places where you don't want to be. You don't want to go to certain places, and you just need to know that and do a little research when it comes to that. But you'll kind of know anyway. Like if you're in a tourist area, you're going to be fine. If you're going to some of the different outskirts, you might want to check with people before you go to those different places. But that's anywhere. The U.S. is the same way. There's certain places that I won't go to in the U.S. because I know that they're probably not a good place to be. And I might get robbed or I might become a victim if I go out there. So you just need to know that. And that's another good thing about having a guide. Because they'll let you know, hey, yeah, you know what? No, we shouldn't go there, or we should go here because this is a better place. Like in Colombia, in Medellin, they have these comunas. So they have like I can't remember. I think 16 different comunas in Medellin, and a comuna is kind of like just I think of it as like just different communities within the city, and so. You'll have like El Poblado, you'll have Laureles, you'll have some areas that are the higher end, like where the wealthier people live. And El Poblado is a neighborhood that's very popular. A lot of tourists will go there. That's where you have parqueyeres and you have a lot of areas that are really the nightlife and all that. But then, and you think of Medellin's in a valley. So then, when you go up the valley, that's where you have the comunas, the poorer neighborhoods. And so, going to those poor neighborhoods. Usually you can take the metro up there. They have the metro cables where you're kind of like suspended cable, which is pretty neat. And some of those areas are okay to go to. Some of those areas that sometimes certain times aren't good to go to because it's poor neighborhoods. So you might have some people that will victimize you. So you just need to be aware of that. But like we had our guide, he knew, okay, hey, you know what? We can go to Comuna this. We don't want to go to Comuna this until we went to the different comunas that he knew. Because I wanted to go into some of those neighborhoods, and so we did that. And that's, like I said, that's a good thing to know. Okay, well, this guy knows the area. He knows what to look for. If people see us with him, they're probably not going to mess with us, as opposed to if we would just go up there by ourselves. Because you can go up there by yourself. It's all you need to do is catch a metro and take it all the way up. And so you can do it. But if they see us just by ourselves with no one around them, then they might, oh, this is an easy target. But if they see us with someone else, then they might, or someone from Colombia, then they might be a little more apprehensive. All right. But yeah, I will definitely do. I'm going to do a series of videos, streams on Colombia, because I think I can't say enough good things about Colombia. Like my buddy turned me on to it. Oh, man. 8 years ago, the first time that I went, and it's a real good place to be. I'll just say that. All right, let's go over a few more questions, and it's getting late, so I'm gonna have to call it after a few more. Let's see. Where did we go here? Yeah, so 3,000. That's 3 trips to Asia. Yeah. That's what Seven's talking about, the flying those private jets. And like I said, I'm not all about like I am all about. I will admit I'm all about business class, first class, and not really for the real all the over the top experience, but more for just being able to relax and sleep. That's my main thing. Like if I'm on a plane and I'm flying to Thailand or China and it's a 12-hour flight, I just want to be able to sleep. That's it. Like I want to have that option so I can eat a decent meal, lay down and go to sleep. I don't want to have to be sitting up next to people and bumping each other and not being able to really stretch out. I want to be able to just get a nice, if I need to, get some sleep. So that's my main thing. So I don't need private jet. That's not me. At least not yet. It can always change, right? All right. I think it's dangerous if you go out at night by yourself and there aren't many people around. Okay, that's what Seven's saying. It's dangerous if you go out, and that and I'm just talking about Colombia. That's one of the things that, like, there's certain areas. I totally agree with you. And there's certain areas where you like when I went to Cartagena. You're at Cartagena. I mean, there are always people out late at night. It's crazy. And even when we went to Medellin, it's the same thing. And it's almost weird because, oh, it's weird to me because when you're in the U.S., that's kind of the thing. Like if you go out and it's late at night and there's like people walking around and doing stuff and eating and hanging out, listening to music, and it's late at night, you're like, what the heck is going on? Is this like New Year or what? What are all these people out? But in Colombia, like when we were in Medellin, it could be any time. Like we'd go out to a club, it'd be late at night, like 3 or 4 in the morning, and we're on our way back. And you still have these. Oh, I guess we have restaurants out here that are open. But you have restaurants open. You have people just hanging out on the street, just playing music and dancing, and there are always people out in certain areas. But I would be a little skeptical if I go through an area and there's like nobody around. And it's funny because when we were in Costa Rica, we didn't know any better, and we had a guide that was taking us different places. But one day we decided, hey, we're going to go walk to, I can't even remember where we were going. We were walking somewhere. So we just decided and we started walking. And it was one of those community like areas. On our way back, it was getting dark. There was nobody on the street. And it's like, okay, yeah, we need to get back fast because there's nobody around. And that is concerning. So, and then the funny thing is, a few days later, we're with the guide, and he's taking us around different places, and we happen to go through that community. And what does he say? Oh, yeah, this is a bad kid. We didn't even say anything to him. He was like, yeah, this is not a good area. We were like, we were just here 2 days ago, walking around. Yeah. So do some research, talk to some people. No, they'll definitely let you know. The last thing they want, is for you to have a bad experience. And when I say that, I mean like Uber drivers, taxis, guides, like when you go on excursions and stuff like that, or you just have even just a personal guide. Like what I didn't think about is when these guys are doing this stuff, depending on what city, like what country you're in, it's regulated, right? So if you have these different excursion companies, they're regulated. They have certain things that they need to abide by and all that. So if something goes down, they have like the licenses and whatever you need, right? But if you have a guide that's just not licensed, like he drives Uber, but he's going to take you around to different places. If something goes down, something goes wrong, that's the last thing that he wants because he could be found liable or sued or I don't know. But the last thing they want to do is put you in a situation where there's danger. So they're more apt to tell you, no, we don't want to go here. We should go here instead. So at least that's what, when I was in Colombia, that's what the guy was telling me. He's like, no, I don't have, like you have to have, in order to transport people, you have to have, and I think I told you this, but Uber's not like legal there. It's not regulated. So in order to transport people, you have to have a transport license, and it's a license plate on the back or on front and back, but the license plate is white. And so if you have that white license plate, then that's for transportation. So you'll see like buses, you'll see vehicles like taxis and stuff like that. They'll have that white license plate. And if you don't have the white license plate, then you have to kind of do it on the sly, because if you're doing it, you can probably get a ticket or something like that if you're doing that. Okay, it sounds like Van Nuys is more dangerous than Colombia. I don't know about Van Nuys, but it's pretty safe. They make it. I mean, they do everything they can to make sure that, because I think the history of Colombia, and we all know, we've all heard about the history and Pablo Escobar and all that. They try to make it. They want to make it a good destination for people to travel to. So they want to make sure that they do everything they possibly can to make it safe, so people will go there. And it's definitely worth visiting. And because of that reputation, I think they're even more over the top when it comes to trying to make sure that it's a safe place to be. And you'll know, like, you go to Colombia, the first thing you're going to see police everywhere and just walking around all over the place. And so it's good. Okay. Wonder how sketched out rich people get before going to Van Nuys Airport. I don't know. Brian does not like Van Nuys, I guess. Let's see. Mark, or don't you think people who travel on company business use travel cards like the Venture Sapphire? Okay. What did you start with? Let's see. Do you think people who travel on business use cashback cards like Saver? Yeah. So Mark is talking about like people who travel for business. Do you think they use like business cards or cashback cards, or like not business cards, travel cards or cashback cards? I would say if they're smart, they do. And I know I talked a little bit about my uncle. He did that a lot, where he would travel. He would like book his travel using his credit card, his travel credit card, and then he would be reimbursed by the company. And he was able to accrue a lot of points that way. And if you're smart, if you're a smart business person, there's no reason why you shouldn't use these travel cards, business cards, and cashback cards, because that's just more money for your business. So, and a lot of business cards, business travel cards will target these different businesses for that purpose, because they know you can save money and use that money for travel and things like that. Even if it's just business travel, it's not like your own personal travel. But let's say you have American Express Platinum card, the business card, and you're purchasing airfare. Like, let's say you're a business owner, you're purchasing airfare for all these different employees when they're traveling to different places. Well, you're accruing all these points, and then you can use those points later to book more travel and save money for the company. Let alone if you want to fly somewhere, then you can use the points that you've earned through the cards. So I definitely think, yeah, it's most businesses are probably using these cards. Let's see. Brian says, I'll slash someone with the Chase Sapphire if they rob me. Yeah. Yeah. And you just need to be smart and just use common sense. That's the main thing. Just like when you're out in the US, you use common sense, and you see something that might look dangerous, and you don't just go into that environment. You don't go. You go somewhere else. It's the same thing. Just use common sense, and you'll be fine in most situations. And a lot of, like, I'm noticing, and in Thailand's the same thing. You just need to use common sense and just watch out for things, because you don't want to be flashy. I'm never flashy. I just wear my regular clothes. One thing about Colombia, and I'm talking so much about Colombia, I'm going to be repeating a lot of this stuff in the future, but and next week. But one thing too about Colombia is the dress is different than the way we dress. Well, I won't say the way a lot of people dress in the U.S. is different than the way they dress in Colombia. And what I mean by that is, like, let's say California, Southern California, dress out here is very casual. Like, you have people walking around in flip flops and shorts and just t-shirts, and that's kind of like, especially during the summer, that's the way you dress, or the way a lot of people dress. So when you go to Colombia, one of the ways that they can spot tourists is by the way that they dress, wearing flip flops. Like, you don't wear flip flops, like sandals, and unless you're going to the beach. But like, I'm talking about in Colombia. So you wear shoes, you wear nicer clothes. Like, they dress up a little more than we do out here in the U.S. And I mean, you'll see, it's not uncommon to like see women that go to the mall or go to the grocery store, and they're like all dressed up. And I like it because they look really good, but that's very common in Colombia, whereas in the U.S., it's like, especially, and I can only really speak for California because I'm in California, been in California my whole life. You see people going to the supermarket in sweats and I've seen sweats and big what do they call those slippers? But the like the ones you wear at night, like in your house. I've seen that rollers in your hair. Oh man, like they even had the whole Walmart thing, the pictures of people in Walmart wearing all this crazy stuff. So you don't see that in Colombia. People are very conscious about how they look, and they dress up, and they're really into fitness. And like you go to in Medellin, they have like these workout areas, like outside, like we would have, like you have kids, they have little playgrounds and stuff like that. They have like a playground, but it's a workout benches and all this stuff out there where you can work out. And then they have air like days where they'll shut the street down and you can ride bikes and you can run on a major street. So they're really into fitness and looking good and stuff. Okay. All right, Brian. Fun fact: Warren Buffett has an Amex Green. All right, Mark. Thank you. Thank you for stopping by. Appreciate it. House shoes are acceptable at any time, in any place. Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about. The house shoes. That's what I was thinking about. So, like in the U.S., you see people walking around and going to the store and all that stuff in house shoes and pajamas. And I saw a girl yesterday walking down the street in her pajamas, like nothing. Yeah, you don't see that. You do not see that in Colombia. But just so you know, if you do travel to Colombia, you want to dress up a little bit, like even when you're just going out for the day, because they can spot you. They'll know right away. Oh, he's wearing sandals. Like, we don't wear sandals out here. He must be a tourist. Because I'm black, so when I go, you have Afro Colombians, you have Colombians who are black. So I could kind of get away with, if they see me right off, they might not know, okay, he's American. Or if you're Hispanic or Latin, they might not know right off, oh, they're American. So you are a target. Yeah, you are a target if you're wearing like flip-flops and shorts and a t-shirt and all that. So and I'm not saying that to scare you, like, oh, if they see you wearing that, they're gonna rob you or all that. I'm not saying that. That's not the case. They're most likely not gonna rob you, but they do. It's easy to pick out people that who are American. So if you want to kind of fly under the radar a little bit, dress a little nicer, just going out to do everything. Don't go in house shoes ever. And you really shouldn't wear flip-flops. And I don't even know why we do it in the U.S. Like in California, I don't live next to the beach, but I will say there are times when I'm going to the grocery store, I'll throw on some flip-flops. If it's hot, like in summer, I'll throw on some flip-flops, some shorts, and a t-shirt, and I'll head out to the grocery store. So, I think we all do it when we live in certain areas. All right. Okay, so it looks like we come to the end. I've answered every question, which is great. We will be doing a live stream every Sunday at 7 p.m. I wasn't able to do it this last Sunday. I'm sorry. This last Sunday, today, I wasn't able to do it at 7 p.m. because I had just gotten back from Las Vegas. And so I got back a little before 7, and then I started fiddling around with this live stream, trying to fine tune it with the audio, which I'm sure is lagged right now because I couldn't get it exactly the way I wanted it. And then in the process of that, I deleted last week's video that I talked about the AMEX Gold card. So that's why we talked about the AMEX Gold card again today. So every Sunday we're going to do a live stream, and I am going to start talking a little bit more about Colombia because I see a lot of people are interested in it and interested in that destination. And I have nothing but good stuff to say about it. I mean, it's a great country. And so we'll start talking about some different things, different ways to enjoy your time, different places where you might want to consider going. And we'll just work it out that way. And then there's also some different, there are also different things that cater to expats or American people who want to either live there or American people who are going there and want to learn Spanish. So learn salsa dancing. There's so many a variety of different things where they will cater to American clientele or just foreign clientele. Period. So we'll talk about that stuff as well. So I appreciate you guys stopping by. If there are any other questions, you can post them in the comment section, and then I will answer all those questions as well. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, and the more thumbs up I get, the better, because it helps move this video up in the algorithm, and people are able to see it, and then they'll tune in for the next live stream. And like I said, my ultimate goal here is to get as many people in this live chat as possible, so we can trade off different stories, trade off different tips, and just help each other out when it comes to travel, because that's probably the hardest thing to know, is like what to expect. And you can do all the research you want. You can get on TripAdvisor and all these different websites, and you'll get some good reviews, some bad reviews. But unless you really talk to people, even if you're just on a chat talking with people, you're going to learn more about the destination, the area. And then ultimately, what I really, really want is people from, and I'll just use Colombia because that's one place that I like a lot, but people from Colombia getting on a live chat. The time difference isn't very much. I think it's only like 4 hours or 3 hours difference from the Southern California, or from Pacific time. So it's not that much different, but I'd love to get people from Colombia to come on and talk about different things. So I'm going to work on that as well, because I think that would really, really be good. I say Colombia, but I mean different places in the world, but I'm just using Colombia as an example. So if we can get people from Thailand, people from all these different destinations, just come in and say, hey, yeah, you should try this, or you should try that. That would be really good. All right, so I'm going to take off. Take care, Jeremy. Have a good night. Mark, Brian, Seven. I'm just reading up the chat, all the people on here. And I really encourage you, just get on, say hi to me, just so I at least know you're there, so I can at least give you a shout out at the very end, or give you a shout out when you say hi. Vaporizer, take care. And Sean, take care. Lionel, take care. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And bye.